I got Welcome back, friends, to another round of Midwest R6. Tonight, we're bringing you Illinois State against Kansas State, a legendary battle that has been duked out in the trash talk section of the Discord throughout the entire season, and one that is now going to be done and tested inside of the server. I'm Sojourner Kai. I'm joined here by Arcade Pro Alex. Alex, how do you feel about last match, and how do you feel about going into this next one?
Last match has got me hyped. I've been loving playoffs so far. I'm curious to see like Illinois versus Kansas. I don't actually know if I've personally seen any of these teams duke it out. So I'm going in, I would say, like completely blind for the most part. Obviously we have stats for it, but I am very tentatively excited.
Oh yeah, me as well. I'm very excited to see how things will go through because Kansas State and Illinois State have been, well, they're very highly seeded in our standings and have shown themselves to be rather strong teams overall, and also a lot of recognizable players, some that I have seen multiple times in the Discord server. So I'm sure that they're willing to back up their smack with these absolutely gorgeous player portraits. This is Kansas State for you. You got Sneaky Worm, Uni, String, and Drakon. Universe. Ooh, I'm gonna be flip-flopping back and forth on that one. Anyway, Siege player ratings across the board hovering around that 45 to 55 mark that you see on most players. Drakon, the slight standout here at 136 kills, possibly the entry frag or that high-rated player for Kansas State. That's a pretty solid lineup, I would say. What do you think about the stats here tonight, Alex?
I'm loving it. I'm always a huge fan of kind of like obviously you usually are gonna have one standout player, but having like a really like spread out, pretty even SPR and kill ratio, it makes it feel like the team's just really coming together, right? Because you might have like a star player, but everyone's putting in the effort and really making things happen. I love seeing a team work that cohesive together. So I'm loving Kansas. I'm curious to see what we have on the side of Illinois State though. With these gorgeous photos. I don't know, man. I don't know if we're gonna be able to top that. Fair enough.
It's so anticlimactic. Where are your player portraits? No, I'm kidding.
Replaced by Blitz moment. We also getting word from our observer. It is pronounced Uni. Or uni? Yeah, uni.
Uni, yes. Okay,
Uni,
that
yes.
that makes sense. Because I know that sometimes people will say it's Uno, but then if you're from across the sea, it's Uno. But they're also wrong because it's a Spanish word. Anyway, Illinois State also having some very similar spreads in terms of SPR. It looks like Pegasus has probably played the least amount of matches for this team. We saw something similar with Ohio State or Ohio University previously, and that was just overall low kill counts, but it didn't really in the server, it was where it made all the difference. And that's where I think we'll possibly see that SPR go up and the kills go up for that player as well. But Cow sitting at 137, the trash talk being tossed between Cal and Uni throughout the entire season will finally be taken to a head here in tonight's matchup in this best of three. Let's see what we got up for ourselves next. A head-to-head of Drakon against
Ooh.
Pencil. Very interesting. Very similar stats, Alex.
Like incredibly similar. So we're looking at like a point, like a percent here, a point one, 0.01, just very small changes. So again, head to head, right? The whole point is you pit them up against each other, but when you have such similar stats, it might come down to kind of the matchup, right? So rather than it being like a purely stats based, it might be, how the players are playing around each other, those micro things that are going to make such a huge difference. But, maybe we won't see a ton of fights between the two, but I personally, I would be down to kind of see if we get a whole bunch of fights between the two and see a whole bunch of like back and forth, maybe even a little bit in the chat, little bit of playful banter. But the head to head statistics have got me pretty hyped,
The
very
Flame
hyped.
War will be legendary at the end of this. And this is our player over time for Kansas State. It's Drakon, who has not had any stats from the spring, had just joined in the fall and an absolutely massive impact that we have seen this player make. 55 player rating, just great stats overall. At 44% survival rate is nothing to scoff at either. We'll go ahead and drop into the Illinois State player next to see what we have over time. And Pencil has seen some market improvements. The
Ooh.
KDR, the kills per round going up slightly, survival. There's something that has changed between the last semester and this current one that has clearly made this player so much better than what we saw earlier in the year, while still being incredibly impactful. So definitely a player to watch. We'll go ahead and drop into our map bans just to speed things along here because we know these players have been chomping at the bit to fight each other. It's
Yes,
Cafe to
let's
start, and
go.
then
It's
Labs,
cafe.
and then Layer on Decider.
I mean, I'm not against it. Like, obviously, I'm not a huge fan of Labs or Layer, but Cafe balances it out. I've been waiting to see some Cafe, and I am incredibly hyped. This is by far my favorite map in the map pool. I think maybe even the entire game. Honestly, like out of over my history of playing the game, right? Like Labs and Layer are a little bit newer, so I don't have as much experience on it personally. But Cafe, man, it's been around for so long. It's been played so much. It feels very unique in the way that it's played. I love it. Cafe it's such a fun map.
Labs has also been a map that has tried to take some space in the vacuum of Oregon, although I think Chalet has taken that location nowadays. But Labs is still an interesting one in the way that some teams will absolutely love it, some teams will absolutely hate it. And I think that when ISU goes out picking Labs here, that's a pick that goes in the favor of, oh yeah, we absolutely love this map. And I'm when we get to the second map, I wonder if that will swing more heavily in their favor because of the dichotomy of how different teams enjoy playing on this overall. So for our next stat, do we have anything else for that? I'm trying to double check my thing here. We do have Cow. Oh, what a
Yes,
lovely little PNG for
there
our
we
player to
go.
watch
Adorable.
on Cafe. Uh, yeah, pretty decent stats all around. Right on a little bit above that 45 average siege player rating that I've seen, 40 to 35 KD, close to 1 kill per round, 22% survival rate. This is a player to watch, one that will be making an impact on this first map. As we then will jump into our top five, just to before we cut into the games, or wait, oh no, we're going straight into the game. Never mind. We're not even going for the top five cams. We're just going to be going straight into the game as soon as we have everything up. We were just waiting on one player to load in there, but we understand that with it getting late and with us being a little bit behind schedule, we do want to try and get things a little bit choppy here. All players are ready, and we are just getting into the game now. But I'm excited for some cafe. I'm excited to see what the operator bans are, because I think that those can be so incredibly crucial to a good game of cafe.
Yeah, I mean, you know, for example, like shields, right? It's been a really big thing we've been talking about tonight, you know, with like Monty and Blitz. It feels like one of those maps where if you have a shield, it makes a lot of difference, but then on some sites, like maybe not as much. But there is a huge difference, like the dichotomy between having a shield and not having access to those shields changes the way that you choose to play it, right? Especially like first floor, right? Like having a Monty, having some type of shield to like push up and take that space is not going to be something we're going to be seeing in this match. Um, Completely
Not at all
reasonable, man.
surprising.
No, I agree. It's not surprising at all. But you know, it's sometimes it's nice to see him be freed from his shackles. And we'll be seeing a Dokebi ban. Okay, maybe a little bit more roam heavy. We might be down to see a lot of roaming. Which with how like Cafe is a very like it feels like a wide map, but a lot of the time it feels very cramped, right? You know, with the three floors, you're playing more verticality rather than horizontally. So you know, you look at Clubhouse, and that map is massive all the way down. And then you switch to Cafe, and it's a lot of like fundamentals and verticality, and it's super simplistic when it comes to that aspect.
Azami's also a really common ban overall, but I have seen that operator do disgusting things to the likes of the piano room on the third floor, especially. You walk in there, and it's a corn maze trying to navigate all of the Kiba barriers that you can set up on the various tables and chairs and everything that goes through there. So not at all surprised to see her banned. Vigil also banned, possibly because the boss G does give you the option of being able to snipe people from the windows in Cafe. I mean, it's Cafe spawn peaks are rather common on this map. Even after the changes, I don't know if you remember pre-rework Cafe, but that was one of the biggest issues with the map that a lot of more casual players had, was how frequently you would get spawn peaked on the map because of the litany of windows that faced all the spawns, and it still hasn't really changed all that much. Vigil, that's probably one of the primary reasons that you see him banned here for Illinois.
Which it's completely reasonable. I don't know if there's been any changes since I last played it. I have played it like semi more recently. I kind of do hate seeing the spawn peaks on this map. Don't get me wrong. It's really fun. It's funny. I love having a great time with it. But it does ruin the map a little bit, right? You have all this like cool verticality, and it's a small map, so there's a lot of micro stuff going on. It's like spawn peak and you pick off a player, and it's like, you know, it feels a little disingenuous to the whole idea of, you know, team versus team going up right up against each other and getting nitty gritty. So I'm glad that we're probably not going to be seeing the whole time. But, you know, maybe we'll see one or two here for the phonies. But getting started is 5v5. It looks like, yeah, they're probably going to go for a top-down take. It looked like they reinforced the walls at the bottom of the white stairs. So maybe, you know, playing a little bit of extended room into VIP, possibly, or just, you know, making it a little bit more difficult for them to push through. But they're taking a more vertical take, so maybe it'll be a little bit irrelevant for them.
It is that faded verticality you were talking about, where so many of the ceilings above these bomb sites have soft flooring to them, and that's the reason why you see the RAM, you see the buck, you see the gridlock, even with the pocket shoddy available. Realistically, hard breach is not a thing that you always need on this map. Of course, you would like it to be available to you on first floor, but when you're playing vertical enough, you really need all that much hard breach. Most players would argue, no, you really don't need all that much, as long as you're able to get the frags out and push the defenders off the site on the first floor. You don't really need to worry about getting those main walls open. Cow is standing inside of VIP here, and the white freezer wall has been partially open, so that's something that you can do to watch for anybody who might be sitting on the back there. C4 goes flying, claims most of Worm's HP, but not all of it.
I think it gets opened. I think they opened the hatch here. So it looks like we're kind of seeing it extended. So I think we saw Warden in the bar. We saw a Jaeger playing inside VIP. So they're playing a little bit more horizontally, right? So instead of playing roam heavy, instead of playing all this, like, you know, random rat spots, we do see Uni picking off Cam, which honestly not a bad pick. Like picking off the Warden, that's the main guy in bar, so Jaeger has to kind of fall back into reception there. So I don't know. I don't know if they actually know he's here. The drone might spot him though, honestly, with how tight that gap is. I'm not entirely sure. But I mean, well, 40 seconds. They're doing pretty well holding horizontally here. Illinois is in a pretty solid spot, holding down what they have. Cow holding down, honestly, most of the side of VIP and bar. So I don't know. I'd probably get some huge impact here. Honestly, I don't think they know Cow's here.
Cow, ever patient in its natural habitat. Swings the player going down gold stairs, but Uni is the one that will come out victorious. Sneaky claims the life of another. Drakon and Sneaky combined for the final 2 kills to give a flawless start to the attack. That is quite the statement to make on Cafe. They've done everything they need to. They get all that verticality open. They open up the hatches. They play around the way that Illinois State wanted to play that specific site and didn't play into any of their caveats, right? Illinois State knows that it's a site that you can't really defend on site too well because of how much verticality you can get on it. So Illinois State, what do? They have these extended roams. For example, Cow, who is sitting inside of reception next to Coat Check. That's a pretty easy spot to find out. Once Kansas State does their work in terms of droning and gets their verticality out, they know there's only a few places for these defenders to sit, and that is how they pull ahead in that round. I think it was really a matter of positioning in space that they were able to take up. Now, of course, Illinois did have like a really good horizontal hold. I do agree with you there. But I think that the problem with their horizontal hold, or the weakness of their horizontal hold, was the fact that it still didn't account for how much verticality and how much work that Kansas had done to prepare themselves for those slight horizontal holds. Because sure, you can hold them horizontally, but you're also not aware of what has been cleared vertically and how much space, how little space you actually have. And that's where Illinois State's defense falls apart, and where Kansas State just picks it to pieces, and it's a very well-deserved, flawless round at the start.
I 100% agree. I'm kind of liking so Illinois is choosing to take the mirror, and then they really punched out the entire side of the freezer wall. So rather than choosing to, maybe play in there, play like a shield or something, they're basically just saying, look, mirror, take care of it. They don't have any way to stop like an Ash or a Habana, so they might just like shoot it if it's Habana. They might, maybe they can do that, but it's gonna be a little difficult. I think for Illinois to like hold on to those mirrors. Ooh, I like the double mirror setup from this actually. Being able to watch like the entire like top floor basically, like the stairs are a little annoying, and getting shot through the wall is annoying as well. Draken getting brought down to 34 HP by the roamer. That's actually kind of tough. The pixel peak. That was well played. They're holding this down really well. So kind of doing reverse like vertical holding, right? So the roaming with this top floor site, you don't have exactly actual vertical from above, so you hold it from below, right? Because there's things like it's buck, right? You can see frag grenades, not as much. You can get them like stuck in the floorboard, but like choosing to play it below, especially with the pulse and the mirror, like the entirety of piano is an absolute death sentence.
Something that's really crucial to this attack, or this defense rather, is Cow on that pulse and the Valkyrie of Eric. Because with the intel that you're able to gather with these two operators, you can play below the entire wooden site of Cocktail, of Bar. And so even if they try to get a diffuser down, you're going to be out information because of the Mira. I say that, though, as Eric does fall to Stringman.
Still has his cameras up, but losing that player kind of sucks. They're trying to flash out, take control of train here. It's a little bit rough here for Cal, but Cal does manage to pick up Uni, and just barely misses the guy on Fireplace. Sneaky picks up a kill on the Cal. Minute left. It's a little unfortunate the String is like a little low HP, but the Mira is probably going to be the absolute worst thing here, right? Like I don't even think they know that the Mira maybe is there. They might have droned it earlier, but I'm a little afraid that Sneaky might just get like immediately picked off. No. So they are aware of the floor edge. They're opening up the bathroom wall a little bit. Basically forcing Cam to get out of bathroom. Yeah, completely leaves Ghost of Palace, and they're going to play a little bit farther back with 30 seconds on the clock. It's going to be a bit rough for Kansas to push this.
You're allowed to play so far back, though, because of that mirror that's sitting over by Cocktail Bar. Kansas State doesn't really have an angle to, or the time, to clear those mirror windows, so they'll have to just go for a front take here. But there's a player playing inside of main bar. A flashbang goes out. One more in pocket. No, Pegasus actually claims two. Stringman and Sneaky are the two to fall. Worm gets one more, but it's penciled with that MK14 to make sure that the advances of the attack are stopped dead in their tracks. The mirror windows providing so much intel, and when you combine it with those Aruni gates on the back of Freezer, you can prevent Hibana from shooting the charges through the wall there, and especially not at all safe in any way either, because you try to peek from Piano or Christmas, whatever it's called, and you throw out the charges onto those Aruni gates. You then have to re-peek it against
Attackers
Amira,
need to locate
and
and
re-peeking
defuse as many
Amira
bombs as
is
they can.
probably one of the golden rules of Rainbow Six Siege. Do not ever re-peek Amira because you probably will die. And Kansas State being at the level that they are, know that that's something that they can't do. But Illinois State having the power position in that round is what really pushes them over the edge and ties things up here. So fantastic play from both teams involved.
Yeah, and it was honestly a gorgeous pre-fire being completely blind and still managing to pick up two. Like, Pegasus just... it feels like it's really been like the night of the ump. I'm not gonna lie. Like, Castle has been putting in so much effort and so much value in these games. Like, sure, yeah, it's like, oh, the
5
Castle
seconds
barricades, but
remaining.
even just the gun. Like, I don't know, maybe it's a positioning thing, maybe it's just generally where they play.
Attackers' objective
You know,
is to
Castle
locate a
tends to
bomb
play
and
in certain positions that manage to get more kills, but it's been an interesting thing to kind of spot happening. So speaking of things to spot happening, there's an
attackers have located a
Amaru
bomb.
on the side of Kansas.
Uh-oh.
They might be trying to go for a... Okay, so with Amaru, for anyone unfamiliar with her gadget, it is a grappling hook. So it can go through windows, it can go to like the top of ledges, but it can also go up hatches. There's a possibility we will be seeing her maybe zip up through a hatch, because we do see like a Capital, we see a Zofia, we see a Blitz, so maybe it's going to be a really aggressive play with Amaru with the Blitz and just running it down, trying to get a plant off, and I'm kind of down to see it, because most of Illinois is to deny, not really to like fight back for that space. Like, they don't really have a smoke, it's Chonka, a Legion, they don't, even a Goyo. It's mostly just information and playing with their guns, so it's a possibility that Kansas just takes the site quick.
Some of the work being done to clear off this defensive roam. I mean, you do have the Miras still holding that same place inside a freezer with the wall being fully opened, looking into piano. But Sneaky, like you said, this hatch play could actually come into play if they get the go-ahead. If Sneaky pulls the trigger here to go in through that hatch, they might be totally uncontested, aside from the Mozzie of Cam who's sitting inside a fireplace. Now, there is one who's sitting on the back side of things, but this might be well enough information to actually get it in here. Yep, here you are, up through the hatch, in behind the default. Drakon also claiming the lives of Cam and Aaron. Sorry, it was Stringman who got the Mozzie. Uni claims one more. Cow, the legendary trash talk fight, not going in the favor.
Was she toes? His flash is up. I don't know. I feel like you just kind of get... Oh, just the walking at you menacingly. That is so unfortunate. A good attempt for Pegasus, honestly, but... You know, Shield's doing what Shield's are going to do. They're going to harass you, and then they're just going to beat you to death on the corner. And you just cry about it.
Sounds like a typical night in Sao Paulo, Brazil.
2-1
for Kansas State. A very good start to Cafe, which I like to talk about the history of maps being defender-sided. I think that's a fallback line that I use quite frequently. But funny enough, Cafe Dostoyevsky at one point in the North American League a couple of years back was more attacker-sided. And I think that there might be some strategies that you can pull from that era that might be able to give you the attacking advantage. That being said, though, Kansas State did pick this map, so unlike what we saw from the previous matchup of Marquette against Ohio University, Kansas State might actually be set to win their own map pick. Whereas Marquette, they picked Clubhouse, but they... You know, it went 8-7. It was a very, very close result. In case you hadn't seen the previous match, these of you watching, hi, hello. This is the second best of 3 we're casting tonight. Last one went 2-0 towards Marquette in 2 overtime maps. Anyway, but Kansas State, though, 2-1 on some very strong rounds so far, and it feels like they are very well equipped to win the round, or win the map for themselves, even in these early rounds. And it might be a little bit early to call it, but I do feel that the rounds that they have won have been very dominant. And when you see a team that's this dominant on a map that you might think is more defender-sided, or might actually be more defender-sided nowadays, the team that's ahead is going to probably stay ahead, especially if they're winning rounds on attack.
Attackers recovered the diffuser.
We do see a roamer on the top floor. So I like Illinois' comp here. So the discreet thing about Cafe and what makes it so unique is it feels like a very rotating map. Like, you can anchor on some of the sides, especially like top floor is very anchor heavy. But other than that, a lot of it is roaming, playing off site, playing off your teammates. I mean, we see 3 nitro cells on the side of Illinois, so Nitro cells again being another like huge aspect, trying to get that verticality and stop the enemy verticality. And so you really do have to play a roam heavy. And I mean, we're looking at them playing like Train and the sites like before, and it's a great adaptation because that was kind of what Illinois was struggling with before. They didn't have a roam setup, so they just got obliterated on site. So playing a heavier roam, I mean, we're a minute and a half in, and Kansas has some map control, but I feel like Illinois is such a good spot, especially with that Nitro Cell onto Worm. That's like half their verticality down. Ram is the other one, but Jokon does manage to get a a refrag onto Cam, and we see Cam in perfect position to maybe get a pick and string it.
I think it's ridiculous that the Vector 45 has an ACOG, and that might be the case of Stringman when he walks around the corner completely unaware of Cow sitting in with a rat spot. Drakon loses his head as well. Cow has established themselves as a domineering force inside of Train here. Both Uni and Sneaky having to fear this player now, the Goyo. They are well aware, Cow. Oh my goodness. The pre-fire. Check their PC.
How was
the
it
pre-fire the player inside of...
Attackers recovered the bomb diffuser.
Oh my goodness, lose my mind. The pre-fire into fireplace. I mean, Uni finally gets the kill on the Cows, so that kill's still going the way of the Kansas State player, but the IQ has to win a 1v3 with only 30 seconds remaining. Does have Case in their hands, but I think in order for them to win this round and make it go 3-1 in their favor, all of Illinois State's players would have to get DDoSed and disconnect from the server, or all line up in a straight line and take their hands off their mics. Basically saying that this is pretty much done and dusted for Illinois State, and they will win things to make it an even 2-2.
I honestly, I don't mind this either. Like, obviously, like, the death, that's kind of whatever. But, a little bit of information, right? Like, obviously, you can't win the round. But you can get at least some information about how they're playing in possible future ventures. Though, I want to say with the round that it's on, with the defense for Illinois, yeah, we won't be seeing that side again during that half. But it was an incredible adaptation from Illinois. So, the first round that they played it, right, they were, like, all on site. They were like, we don't really want to roam, right? And they got dumpstered. Complete flawless. And then we look at the other way around, and obviously, yes, Cow obliterated with the Vector. It wasn't even close. It was insane. But the way that they were roaming, right, they realized their mistake, and so they completely flipped the script. We roam, we're going to kill you, and they brought it down to a 3v1. Kansas, yeah, it was an incredible adaptation from Illinois, and I kind of hope we get to see more of this, because I like adaptation play. It makes me happy to see it happening in, like, real time.
Oh, that's where I was just saying that Kansas looks like they're in really good position to win this map after being up only one round. I'm immediately met with hubris as Illinois State proves me wrong, but proves me wrong in the best way. Like you said, the adaptation that they have brought out to counteract what Kansas had been doing on attack is admirable, because it means that Illinois State, they have other game plans in mind. They're not just one-track minds the full way through, and I think that means that these maps are going to go extremely close, and we're going to have a really good game of Siege, but who knows, maybe have Caster curse them again. Either way, third floor bar is the setup. We're seeing this Mira Aruni combination that was so damning in the last time that we saw them play the third floor. We'll see if Kansas State is well equipped to handle it this time around. They do have some operators to remove the Aruni gadgets in the form of the Brava and also the Flores, actually. Which, fun fact, you can jump with the Flores. If you activate it, it becomes invincible. It breaks the Aruni barricade and still explodes at the end of it. So, a little fun trick you can do with that. I've done that plenty of times in, like, Coastline.
I've seen that a little bit. It's cool.
Yeah, neat little interactions, little tips and tricks. 57 tips and tricks to make you better at Rainbow Six Siege. That's number 32.
MWR6 certified.
If you want to find out the rest of the tips and tricks, you can just subscribe to my newsletter. Anyway, it's a tie
you have
game
a
so
newsletter?
far.
When did that happen?
Just riffing at this point. A wide angle onto Eric, who's sitting inside a train, goes awry. Uni taking a little bit of damage, but Drakon is the first one to strike Cow down in their tracks. No more Mozzie.
It's a bit unlucky, but I mean, obviously, Mozzie's utility is probably already out. Like, it sucks that he can't use the drones, but it basically acts like a mute now, right? What I'm mostly worried about is the fact that Eric is on 5 HP. Now, it's a little like, a buck randomly shoots to the ground, breaking some verticality, a Flores drone goes a little bit haywire, and you're just gone. And that scares me a little bit, especially with the Runegates too. Like you know, that's defense. Defense utility can harm defense, guys. I'm a genius. But
If they're Brahma tricked, if they're Brahma
to
switched,
be
they
fair,
can
you know
harm
what?
the
I was
defense,
on the
so-
right track. I was on the right track, everybody. No, I mean it could. Like I can honestly see that, and so like it does worry me a little bit. But you know, maybe Eric can make some play with that HP. Though. Was that
I think we did see something happen in a couple of weeks ago where there was a player on 1 HP who just absolutely... It might have been when I was casting with Kimchi. Either way, Hibana charge is going out onto deep freezes. This will be a long angle. Oh, the barrel of the gun is spotted here, so they're trying to get some shots onto the hand, but it's not going to quite land. Uni has such an angle, but it's not able to get capitalized on. Pencil gets away with basically no damage whatsoever. Cam swings their own hacked a Rooney and still gets sneaky. Cam with 2.
Okay, so this is great. Okay, so 20 seconds left. Almost complete piano control, or at least testing it, right? But the Mira is watching main bar. You have somebody sneaking up white stair, but has to break the barbed wire. It's Drakon. So, breaking that Mira, but gets pre-fired by Cam. That's 3. And Pegasus again on the bar, getting another pick onto Worm. 1v3 in the favor of Illinois. Shrimp runs out of ammo, and he attempts. Oh my gosh. The ammo. That is so unfortunate. Cam just holding down the entirety of bathroom and piano. Basically one-man army. That is... Wow. That was well played. That was an incredibly well played round from Illinois.
Illinois held their defensive positions well and didn't give up any ground whatsoever despite the advances of Kansas State. But they said, all right, you want to push into these specific locations, you can come at us. You can do whatever you want. We're not going to be giving up any ground. And Cam getting that 3K ball, just darting around the Hibana pellets that were inside, that broke open the wall into bathroom. I think what had happened there, actually, Kansas State throws out the Hibana pellets to break open the bathroom wall that has that long angle that looks towards Cocktail. They don't quite capitalize on Pencil, who's playing the Rooney in that round, but that's fine. But they don't expect Cam to still be watching that mirror window inside of bathroom, because why would you stand there? You can't swing the angle when there's Hibana pellets that are very clearly exposing you to piano. And yet Cam uses that position so well to cut down players who are advancing on the location and shuts down the entirety of Whitehall, of Christmas, or of piano, and wins the round for Illinois State off of a very strong position. So now the site's gone into raiding room again. Really favoring the...
Bomb located by attackers.
No one likes the fireplace side.
Poor fireplace. It doesn't need this, you know. It did nothing wrong.
Or sorry, it's mining, not... Or fireplace is always going to be the tie-in for second floor. It's mining that is not preferred. For a good reason.
Yeah, I agree, but I really do like reading. Like, I like the middle floor, right? So obviously it's a bit hectic for defenders, especially with all the verticality and whatnot. Like you can have an IQ. You know, we're seeing a ram and a buck, so you could just get clapped from above. But you kind of look at the flip side, right? You could be having people playing top floor, like what we're seeing from Pegasus with the Mira, the castle, holding this down. You could see a roam from below with like a pulse and a Valkyrie, play some nitro cells. Maybe even like fight from like first floor bar, like the bar stairs, and fight top floor even. There's so many options, and we also have the option of Cow killing String, Cam killing Uni with the nitro cell, and getting 2 kills out for Illinois with 1 minute and 45. It's gonna be a little rough for them. Oh, Drakon pick up on the Pegasus, immediately gets refragged by Pencil, and Mira playing really aggressive and getting a second, and Cow getting a third, second. Holy, okay, so I was going to mention it, I guess, for the previous round on the top floor, for bar, but playing aggressive, right? Mira and whatnot, like choosing to play really aggressive and swing and like just take that space, right, and not be like fearing the attackers. And we see it again, and Illinois just cleans up Kansas.
I mean, blink and you miss it. Illinois seemed to have got themselves in those roam positions that Kansas wasn't even remotely prepared for, and they wiped the floor with them to go 4-2 on the half. This is a round differential that we haven't seen yet tonight, as all the previous halves of regulation had gone 3-3 between Marquette and Ohio, and now that we're here seeing a 2-4, Illinois State looked really solid on those defenses, and especially in those last rounds where they were in full stride, able to cut down every attacker. It seemed like there was no way, there was no entry that was safe for Kansas State, and Illinois seemed to be cruising in those rounds, really. But we'll have to see how this half goes, because there are always two halves to a game of Siege, and it'll start on the third floor with, again, the Mira, but surprisingly this time around, no Aruni being brought, so a different mentality in terms of composition, but still very much in favor of this very powerful operator that, to be honest with you, I'm surprised wasn't banned, especially over Vigil. You're banning Vigil over Mira.
So one thing that I'm picking up from Illinois here, I'm looking at their comp and I'm like, okay, so I see a Blitz, I see a Fink, and I see Damos. With how much Illinois has been kind of like shooting, right? Their entire team, like obviously Cal has gotten some really good picks, but it feels like the team's really been shooting. So maybe they prefer the more aggressive comps, right? They prefer like being able to take that space. And so it's going to be a little difficult, especially against Kansas, right? You have a Mira, you have like some really solid information and utility. Yeah, obviously Damos is hunting down this castle for his life. Getting shot at from the stairs, so in a bit of an odd position here. But, oh, Worm gets a kill into Cow. That's the Blitz down. And Cam is in a bit of an odd spot here. Frag grenade onto the white stairs, gets picked off by Draken on the roam, does manage to kill Sneaky on the stairs with the nade. So 4v3, minute 50. It's a little odd with no Damos and Blitz, so not a lot of information, not a lot of push, but I don't know. Illinois has been doing some freaky stuff this match.
The Illinois State Freaks, as they call them. I don't know actually who calls them that, but Stringman with M5 claims one more. Pencil evens the man count, so it is still 2-2. And you do have an Ace and a Finka, two very powerful operators that have their gadgetry remains perpetually useful throughout the round. Ace opens up a wall, and you always have that wall to work through. You have Finka who can delay the use of her Finka boosts, and that'll be something that the attackers can always use to their advantage. So even with it being 2v2, there is still a lot of work that Illinois State can do with their current operator lineup. Just a matter of finding these players. They know there's someone inside a cigar, but they're not quite able to play the kill. Eric's shots through the cigar display goes awry as there's this player sitting. It's Stringman. No, actually with the M5 out. Sitting behind the pillar here. They might think that he's gone. Uni is gone. In fact, so is Stringman.
Oh my gosh!
And an absolutely incredible peak. They had so much time to work with that they play patiently. They play around the intel that they have, and a timeout is called by Kansas State.
Pencil and I, as Pencil said, he's cooking. No, I mean, it was incredibly... So, okay, with Kansas, right, they were holding the space. I really liked the way the Mute was playing. It felt like such a solid position, right? You have the M85. I think it's the M85. Correct me if I'm wrong.
It was like M58. You know what?
M508.
Semantics. You go ahead with
Semantics,
your point.
whatever. The shotgun. The shotgun, right? It is the shotgun of Siege. And holding that, right? With the SMG or the shotgun. But... playing in it's a micro position that honestly I never would have thought of, but like you can't really get wallbanged with where you're at, right? You're just in between, like you're between, you know, peeking out and between the wood. So you're just kind of like waiting. It's a bit of an unfortunate, like if he had hit that shot, legitimately, I think the round could have gone towards Kansas there. But just that small mistake, you know, not hitting the shot. Illinois slowed it down. They played it properly. They weren't just going to like run in, try to Finka boost and run it down. Like honestly, probably I would have done personally. I would have said, oh, run it with the Finka boost. It's fine. But they had 3 drones up, right? I was looking at the drones and I'm like, well, Ace has a drone out. And then I see Finka throw another one. And I'm like, no, they're going to take their time. They have a minute left on the clock. They don't really know where Kansas are, but you have a general idea where a couple of them could be. And there's not a ton of utility on the side of Kansas. So it really just comes down to figure out where they are, take those gunfights, do your best.
I think it kind of comes down to a moment of panic, really, for Kansas, where they think that these players are peaking faster than they actually are, and the patience from Illinois State is what wins them the round. Because sure, the time is winding down, but for the attack, when you're in a 2v2, a minute is a lot of time to work with. And so if you are vaguely aware of some players' locations, like I think there might have been a sound cue of the Mute playing inside a cigar there, as soon as you're able to bait him out and make him panic, that's where Illinois State has you. That's where Illinois State is able to capitalize. And they make it 4 in a row, by the way. 3 of those, of course, on defense, but that first one on attack I don't blame Kansas State for taking the time out there, because this is the most important round in Siege, the one right before overtime.
But
Players been spotted.
I'm also seeing a Scopos.
Oh,
I have not seen Scopos except for maybe one time. Which is, I'm down. I really like, I like Scopos. I think they're a really, really cool operator. For anybody unaware of Scopos. Oh, well, first, Worm gets a pick onto Pencil. Gets immediately refragged by Pegasus.
Bomb located
We're
by
just
attacker.
playing on top of each other. I guess I'm not going to get time. We see trades come out. Trades go out. 3 players on each side. The Blitz is knocked, and there's not as much health on the side of Illinois. But here's the thing, right? They have 2 minutes. They are down Cam. Stringman picks a kill up, and now it is 20 HP on the side of both Eric and Pegasus. Holy goodness, I was not ready. Blink and you miss it.
like you miss it indeed. 2 players for the attack, 3 players for the defense. Only one player of the defense down to only about 50 HP. Pegasus dropped down to 4. There is, well, there's not a whole lot left for ISU to be playing with here. They'll need to be landing their shots perfectly. And with this Warden on board, Drakon gets one more onto Pegasus. Eric can claim one back, but it's Drakon, that all-important Scopos to close the round out comfortably. And yeah, that's...
Yeah, the rotate was phenomenal from Drakon. That was like, it was so well played. He had the heads up. He had the heads up information. He knew where to play. He knew how to rotate and support his team. He just gets 2.
That he does. I think part of that also starts to fall apart when Illinois State tries to do something similar to what we
Defenders,
saw,
protect
I
your bombs
think,
from being defused
on
by attackers.
one of the first rounds of Kansas's attacks, where they went for that much more aggressive operator lineup and tried to force things into small bakery and immediately get put into the blender. They are just shredded to pieces, and after the dust settles, there's only 2 players left for Illinois State. I think there was 3, but then one of them got cut down very quickly thereafter.
Attackers have located
And
bomb.
that's like part of where I wonder if Illinois State's feeling a little confident, because I don't blame them. They're up 5-2. Their opponents have taken their time out. They're clearly worried about their strategy, and you have to try and test that strategy. How well prepared are you for a rush after making a timeout? Because I'm sure that in a timeout, one of the things that you probably don't really talk about is, hey, they're going to rush next round. It's probably, hey, this is what they're doing in these rounds. We got to make sure we're playing around this. And so Illinois State trying to catch them off guard completely backfires, and Kansas State holds their ground. So, a well-deserved 3-5. If a little bit shaky in some regards, but one that'll keep them off of match point for now.
Yeah, and so switching to still having like that slightly aggressive, right? You have a Damos and you have a Finka. So no blitz. I'm down to like see no blitz. I think he's been strong, but I don't exactly know if it's like worth on the side of Illinois. I think Kansas has done a really good job at kind of denying blitz that opportunity to make a massive impact. He's made some impact, but not like a huge amount where it's like, you know, match losing or anything. And so, you know, choosing to play like information, right? Damos on this map feels so strong. You get so much free information. Like, you do have some roam cams, some roam drones, but being able to just, you know, pop the Damos and know exactly where somebody is, right? You track anybody you want, and then you send your team after them, especially like, you know, with, you know, having a Finka, you can just like Finka boost and send it. Right? And I like the aggression. You know, Illinois being more willing to play aggressive is something that I have like seen a lot on this map, because I think it's really important to play aggressive and take that space, because they can get a little funky with a little different players. You can also get funky with Drakon hitting a nasty headshot on a cow. Okay.
Attackers
Damos
recovered
kind
the
of alone
bomb
on the white
diffuser.
stair here. Yeah, forced to just fall back and meet back up with his team maybe. Maybe even push up pillar stairs. It's a bit tough.
The problem with losing Cal there is that it gives Cam so few options to work with, because now that you've lost your duo, your teammate there, you have to then try and either peek white stairs, we know there's somebody on top of white stairs, or you need to go through, oh, hold on, here's a great kill, though. Worm falls to the Vendetta, a absolutely incredible name for a weapon. Tries to get one more player through the floor, but it's not quite there in terms of fire rate or timing. A long angle onto someone who's still inside a reading hallway, but to be honest with you, it looks like Cam is punching shadows right now, as these Kansas State players are otherwise elusive aside from Worm, who has swung by. That being said, It is an even man count, 3-3, and there is one that is downstairs. Case is going down. The most important thing about that
Nitro
is,
Cell. That
the
was
most important thing
planter.
about the Deimos here as well is that the information they are able to give out is that, hey, there's only actually 2 players on site. We might be able to go for the plant, but it's actually a fatal mistake as the C4 flies out and Stringman flies out of bathroom to cut down Pencil.
Vendetta has a vendetta against String for killing his teammate. Cam is running out, just trying to get something to happen. 15 seconds. It's gonna be rough. Does he hit the shot? Oh. Okay, legitimately, that was an amazing try. They were both lined up. That honestly could have been it, right? That I totally could have seen that working. But no, it well played from Kansas. They're holding it down. They're playing like a really good roam, right? They're playing off each other. They're forcing Illinois to clear them. They're not just gonna give them free kills. They're not gonna take some dumb fights. Like obviously one of them got cut out by Deimos. But other than that, Deimos really didn't get a whole lot of free stuff going on, and so they played it, they played timed, and then at the very end they played right on each other, and they were just able to play a really good defense.
Attackers need to locate and defuse bombs.
That Vendetta also, you'll have to correct me if I'm wrong, but I think it does 78 damage a shot to the body. So 2 shots of that thing knocks anybody out. Aside from like a Doc boosted Rook or something along those lines.
Think of boosted Rook, guys. Don't worry.
Yeah. Doc overheals the Rook or something. I don't know. Anyway, that Vendetta, if it claims 2 shots onto the player who's on cigar door there or the back of bar, kind of in that sort of area,
10 seconds left before insertion.
they can very easily fall to 2 shots of the Vendetta if they both find their target. If the headshot finds its target and you get one more shot onto the mute who's playing a little bit closer up on the default plant spot on bar, that round goes very differently, and Illinois State pushes themselves into match point. So again, it's similar to some of the other matches that we've seen where there are just some minor changes, a difference of quite literal pixels that would have changed the fate of these rounds so immensely. But after all is said and done, Kansas State does pull it back again on their map pick, and they are closing that round differential after winning 2 in a row. So it's now 5-4. Reading Room, though, side to attack, too.
Yeah, I'm kind of down for this. So we're seeing a very similar comp from Illinois. I don't exactly know if they had the IQ last time. I think it might have been something else. I do forget, but again, I'm liking the Deimos. I'm liking the figure, right? The Deimos has been massive information for them. We're seeing the Castle Barricade by, I think, a hard breach charge.
It was an Ace Selma, yeah.
Ace Selma, that makes more sense. I was like, it feels a little slow for a hard breach charge. And where's the circular? It's because it's not. It's an Ace Selma.
You also have 8 frag grenades, by the way, in Illinois'
Holy
pockets.
frag grenades.
Holy frag grenades.
Man, it's kind of insane how like popular and prominent frag grenades used to be with how many there were. There's nitro cells. Those kill 2. Sneak it with a pretty gorgeous nitro cell into Pegasus. Just pretty simple. Throw it, rip it, and they're down their gridlock. Flank Watch isn't going to be, like, it's going to be important on this, but I think it's going to be a little less important than maybe having, like, the Deimos for the information or having, the other frags IQ for that Valve. You need that IQ because you will get more nitro cell. Because there is, I think, one more nitro cell on the side of, actually, I think both might have been used already. Yes, both have been used. So, unfortunate, but I still think those Valve cams are going to be huge. With the Repel, I'm liking as well. They're starting to, like, really pinch up top. Cal's still being targeted by Deimos. Just depends on the hallway. Beautiful shot from Uni on the Cow. Refrag, Eric kills Uni. We see Cam trying to maybe repel in here and make something happen. Pencil trying to fight pallets.
Whoa.
Cam does get the pick on a Drakon. Definitely nice shots with the pistol. Okay, so it looks like they're a little bit more towards white stairs and trying to deny the reading room entrance. Which, honestly, with the Goyo and the smoke, like having those Goyo canisters and the smokes, it's gonna be a bit difficult for Illinois to get onto the OBJ.
They do have intel here because of the Valk cams, which is the reason why I think that Cow had been bringing the IQ, because they know that the Valkyrie has been a common operator for this defense, but Cam spots one out. Currently 10-7, by the way, a standout player, Illinois' standout player, and Pencil will be one of the standout players for this round as Eric claims a double kill. It's going to be at the death of the round, 110 HP in the pocket of the Valkyrie, who tries to pre-fire in towards Laundry. The shots do not land, and 45 seconds is added to the round counter. Worm has to go Around wide to reading hall. Knows of one player inside the laundry, but worried about the player who's also inside a reading. What a great flish onto Cam. A 1v1 situation. 49 HP remaining on this ace. This MPX may be a pea shooter, but it does have a high rate of fire and very, very little recoil to deal with. Those are the players still out by the snow door here. Goes for the defuse instead, because if he sticks it, well, pros don't fake. That's what I've been told. Eric swinging around the corner, but he's just denying time. It doesn't matter if he goes out here.
Has no
It is so
time.
well played. The Deagle to swing onto the bookcase. It's all up to Eric. Worm loses out on what could have been a clutch situation, but instead the timing is so well played by the ace player who gets the diffuser down, and that is match point for Illinois State.
That was incredible. So the diffuser was in an odd spot. So we look at where the diffuser, right? A lot of the time with plant spots, you want to be able to see it from somewhere else. With the way it was tucked, right? It really was. It's a coin flip, right? Do you try to push out into pillar and just like kill the ace, like maybe walk up, swing him, and try to kill him? Do you fake the diffuse? Do you like tap it and leave a little bit? Do you like keep sticking and just pray that maybe he misses a shot? And it's a bit rough for both sides, right? Because on one hand, the defender trying to defuse that, and it's a bit of a coin flip. For the attacker, it's like, well, do I push? Do I not push? And so both get put in this really odd 50-50. And it was rough. Like I think it could have gone either way, honestly. If they managed to hit that shot right at the end, I totally believe it was Kansas to win that. But it was well played by Illinois, and major props to them. And major props to Kansas for bringing back out the Scopos. Yes! I did not get to explain it last time. I will very briefly describe Scopos for anybody unfamiliar. Her whole utility is she has two separate drones in quotes, kind of put on the map. When deployed, it will basically just be a deployable shield with a camera on it, but you can switch to it manually, and you have two different drones you can kind of move around and basically act as. Whatever the active one is, if that dies, you fully die. But if the alternative one dies or it's destroyed, you're still alive. So again, as we're seeing right here, right, you can just roam around, position yourself a little bit crazy, and then just get out of dodge, right? Find a spot, switch back, and now you're just completely alive. You're basically a sixth body for roaming as long as you can get out.
Scopos is a weird operator in its applications because of the ability to basically teleport with the limited. This is teleporting as good as the engine can go for Rainbow Six Siege, and will definitely be a linchpin in this defense. I mean, it's Drakon who has the most kills for the team, playing an operator who can waste so much time. I mean, like you said with the second life, you know, here you are. All right, I don't like being up here on pallets. I'm going to go ahead and teleport back in the site, and I'm just perfectly fine. And I have some intel upstairs. Second cam does get the choice. You see that by the icon. So no more teleporting ability. Scopos will now be a solo operator with no gadget whatsoever, aside from the SKS, which has been a pretty powerful weapon overall. The recoil on that thing is basically non-existent as well, so very easy to use in the hands of capable players, and Drakon has proved himself to be more than capable in these rounds. But more of a roam clear coming out from Illinois State to Deimos. Well aware of this angle. Yeah, this angle is the one that you typically hold if you're sitting inside a train that looks into prep, but nobody home for now, and Illinois State will have to use their drones to go hunting for the remainder of this defense.
There's pretty good awareness from the player playing inside of that hallway. Like, legitimately, if they were just a little too slow, they'd probably get tapped in the back of the head by Cam, and this round could very easily swing like almost immediately, because that's one of your players in the front, right? You lose a lot of that like front defense. But you know, right now it's a 5v5 still, 50 seconds. We have a ram and we have a buck. I don't exactly know how much they've opened the floor, so we've seen all the ram charges are gone, and buck has almost no shots. I think one shot left, so quite a bit with context. We do still see somebody inside of VIP. I don't know if they know where he is. Deimos is tracking Scopos. Scopos is currently on the stairs, I think. Main stairs? No, that's the Deimos. I apologize. They're dropping the hatch. Jackal drops, or no, yeah, Jackal drops in, gets taken down by Stringman. Uni kills Pencil on the stairs. Uni's trying to fight the guys who dropped the hatch, but the mute is down. Deimos is walking down the bar stairs. Managed to get an absolute gorgeous headshot on the Uni, and a down onto the Deimos. As the dust settles, 10 seconds, 2v2, plan is going down from Cal, and they're just trying to fight back. Pegasus gets killed by Worm, and it's Cal alone with the fuser down, back into VIP hallway. Can Cal clutch this out?
I absolutely believe that Cow can clutch this up, and here's why. Look at how empty this floor is. There is nothing left up here. There is nowhere for these defenders to hide. No long arms possible for you to be able to get here. And also Cow using that literal last shot in the skeleton key to open up the freezer side. They know that they're playing through.
Beautiful shot.
Cow gets the headshot on the worm, and this could very well be curtains for Kansas State.
Attackers need to
Pennsylvania
protect
Wants to try and get the
the
last player.
compromised.
Jumps into bunker, but there's just not enough time. This is going to be an easy one. It's
the
going to be a hit
no-scope,
fire
the
from
VM.
Cow to clutch it out.
I don't love
Beautiful
the VM,
1v2.
but they played it really well. Like, I can at least give props to the fact that they played that like incredibly well, right? You're looking at Cow just sticking the diffuser and then running, right? Understanding the floor is open. You basically have nothing left, right? Like, as long as you can play above, they're forced to push, as we saw, and then obviously Cow hit a gorgeous shot, like gorgeous shot after gorgeous shot. It was just playing that clutch so well, and the floor being opened up with all that utility, it was very impressive. I major props to Cow for that clutch, and Illinois takes Cafe 7-4.
What a beautiful display. And I think part of what really helped win that round was the fact that they got control on that second floor, used all their gadgetry, and even though Cow is in a 1v2 situation post plant, you understand that the verticality that they have is all that they need to win the round. So a very well deserved win for Illinois State. But that'll be the end of map number 1. We'll take you to map number 2 after a short break.
CS
Nice.
player dead.
Good pick.
Take it.
Take it
There's
down.
two in there. One more.
Another circle.
Oh,
the chair.
CS
double.
Freezer door, freezer door.
Welcome back, friends, to the remainder of the Midwest R6 playoff bracket. If you just missed the first map, we just watched Illinois State and Kansas State, 7th and 8th seed competitors going up against each other in a 7-4 victory, going the way of Illinois State. And here are some map stats for you. Look at those KD spreads across the board. Cam, the standout player for Illinois State, against Dracon, who had just one less kill over on Kansas State.
Yeah, it was insane watching this happen. So, well, one of the big things, and one of the things I've said it a bunch, I'll say it again, right? I like seeing these spreads where it feels like the kills, the deaths, the assists, where it's pretty spread out. Like obviously, you know, we look at the side of like Illinois, and Cam was a standout for like kills, and Cal, man, 7 assists is bonkers. But you know, we turn over to Kansas, and I'm like, it felt like it was really back and forth. These rounds were so close. Like if you were to look at the stats, you'd be like, Kansas didn't win, right? It was so impressive from both sides to see all this happening live and be like, that's really what the stats say. It's kind of like it's kind of a mind boggle here. Also, we have our player to watch for Labs Pencil with a 77.68 Siege player rating. That may be the highest I've ever seen.
Well, it is all based off of one map, but it's a 13-3 KD. Whenever they played this map last, they beat the ever-living snot out of the team that they were up against. We're just going to go ahead and jump right into our operator bans because we're getting this thing rolling onto Nighthaven Labs. This is going to be, Illinois State's map pick, because you wouldn't have believed it from the last game going 7-4 in favor of Illinois. It's actually Kansas's pick last game, but oh boy, if that was Kansas's pick last game, I'm worried to see what Nighthaven Labs looks like this time around.
So Cam was our Demos player for the last map. Illinois State really made use of the Demos. It was incredible seeing like they just absolutely, for lack of a better word, it's like dumpstering at times where it was just shot after shot after shot and clearing everybody out. And I think Kansas State has decided no demos for you, and Illinois State has said we're firing back with a Monty because no reason, we hate Monty, you know, and that's completely reasonable. Monty is an absolute broken. Shields are busted. Take that away. Shields are busted. They're so nice.
I think this is the second time that we've seen a team ban Demos away from their opponents tonight as well on the second map. We saw it played a little bit on Chalet earlier, and then in the Clubhouse match, it was banned away. And we saw it played to great effectiveness on Cafe, and then now it's banned away on Nighthaven Labs. Azami, Vigil, and Monty, though, join the ban list yet again. The only difference being that Demos and Dokebi switch, which we might even see a Dokebi going into these games now that has been left open, or a blitz, or whatever. The possibilities for attack are pretty wide open because Demos might be a target ban for some specific players, but that doesn't ban it from the rest of the players, and it especially doesn't ban some of those more high impact operators as well.
Defenders, protect your bombs.
Yeah, I mean, I like seeing Demos, but he is so strong, and like obviously not seeing him campaigns. We're probably gonna see maybe a little bit heavier roams, maybe even some weird anchor spots, because like with Demos, like it's two different ways that you can play it, right? You can either figure out who's playing on site, who's playing where, or you can find a roamer, right? You can figure out where they're playing and clear them out as a team, which Illinois State has been doing so well at playing as a team, clinical, like it's clinical, right? They were playing so well in Cafe. They knew where they wanted to hit, they knew how they were going to hit it, and they kept pushing through the defense. And so not having Demos is going to make that a little bit more difficult, but we do see a Grim. Oh,
5 seconds.
no, I think we see a Twitch and an Ace. We were going to see an Ace and a Grim, but we're also seeing an IQ, which makes sense. They probably saw the Valkyrie. Valkyrie's been, again, it was monumental in Cafe. Especially on a map like Labs, I know I personally get a little confused with this map. It's a little bit of a corn maze. But even if it's not, the information and with how many corners you can throw those cams in, it feels like it's going to be quite nice to be able to just get them out of the way, like right off the rip.
Labs reminds me of kind of a blend of like Bank and Clubhouse in some ways, where they're big maps with some, warehouse feels like garage on Clubhouse, and with the slower rotations that you have to take around the long way, you can have some of these really late rotates that feel extremely awkward. That being said, you do get the IT wall open pretty early, and a little bit of use out of this Twitch drone clearing some of those Valk cams and Legion gadgets, other things that you might need a Twitch drone for. So now we're just waiting on the connector wall. Going for a Maverick as well. Maverick was banned in Clubhouse earlier as well, so this is the first time that we're really seeing this operator being used.
Yeah, Maverick is very much kind of an enigma, right? He feels like he's either so incredibly strong or he's irrelevant. And I kind of like seeing that with Operator. You know, in a game like this, right? All that strategy, all about picking apart your opponent's defense. And so having, you know, an Operator in Maverick that is so precise with what he wants to do, it's a very specific type of tool, right? It's a very specific screwdriver where you just need it. But if you don't have it, man, it is rough. And I like seeing the Maverick here, being able to get these walls open. A minute 20 in, we've seen no kills. We've seen a little bit of damage. It's probably from the walls, if I had to guess, from the banded walls. Either that or, you know, maybe a couple shots fired out. I see a nitro cell fired out from Worm onto Cal. That is first blood for the match. And then we see an immediate refrag out from Cam onto Worm. Pretty gorgeous headshot. 4v4, minute left. Honestly, not doing too bad from the side of Illinois on clearing.
Cal had previously run into a Legion mine, which is where they were missing 5 HP from. But now they're missing all of their HP. A C4 sends them sky high. And the hatch is open inside of server here, so you do have to wonder where things are going to go from here. There is a player who's playing down below there, but you really don't have a whole lot of time to sit and wait for somebody to peek you on the hatch because there's only 30 seconds remaining in the round. And of course, with the IT wall being open, Eric is able to take some space going in here, but as these shots ring out from the M4, his position will be given away. So Kansas State well aware of the push coming in from the players here. Drac on the first one to strike after the lull. Pencil, the one to fall down. Eric as well, who had been peeking inside of IT, will eventually fall victim to shooting a Malusi. That's only Pegasus in a 1v4 situation. A mirror wall facing them down inside a connector. They'll push into electrical. And a C4. Just add insult to injury on top of everything else that had happened already.
I love stepping on Legos. Legion is one of those operators where I'm like, as we said it before, we said it earlier, and I think it's correct to bring it up now. Man, I love playing Legion, but man, I hate playing against it. You just get pricked in the foot. You're like, really? Now? It's not very fun, especially when you're low on time. It was a nice try, but honestly, when you're facing down Mira, you're facing down Legion, you're facing down a nitro cell just being ripped and flying through the sky like a majestic bird, blowing your face off. It is not pleasant trying to clutch in that scenario.
Legion's the embodiment of like as an operator. That's just how you run into a Legion.
You know
mine.
what? You make a fair point.
I don't know if you remember. You remember back in the day? I'm bringing the member berries back. I'm sorry, but Legion mines used to be mostly invisible. Like the only way you could actually see them was if you had actually could see a little shimmer difference of them. And now that you can see them, it feels even more insulting, right? Because you're like, I could have seen that trap and I still walked into it. It's kind of like Capcam, but to even more annoying extent. Site's going to be inside a basement, by the way, but a very aggressive roam being held upstairs by Drakon, who is currently wielding the Scorpion in the hands of Ella. So that makes me think that you're going to have to worry about a lot of verticality from Illinois, and it makes total sense. You're playing onto basement. There is a lot of verticality that you can play into. So, of course, you'll want to defend said verticality. Drakon sitting inside a warehouse, aware of some players outside of his position here. IT wall has not been reinforced, though, so if the Buck wants to push into IT wall there, can use that skeleton key to make his way through.
There is a slight roam clear going on for Drakon here, which I'm honestly I kind of like it on both sides, right? Obviously from Illinois, you want to clear these players out, but for Kansas, it's like, man, I'm drawing so much attention. It's like a minute in, they haven't killed me, they kind of know where I am, but not really, and those Ella mines are going to make it that much more hectic, because you never know, right? I mean, you have a Valk pack in you too. You hit an Ella mine, it's like, do I keep pushing? Do I die to Drakon with a beautiful headshot onto Cam? That's the roam clear. Sneaky picks one up onto Pencil. God, the DMR is so strong. I mean, probably just well played from Sneaky, but that DMR is definitely making things a little bit easier. And Drakon is looking to maybe make something happen, especially with Worm maybe drawing some more attention too.
All three players of Illinois State that are still standing are upstairs inside of this warehouse location, and Worm does claim one. The head of Eric is theirs. A big swing from Cow onto the onto the surface.
Oh my
ball.
gosh.
Cow, that is a cacophony of whips, maybe a bit of a panic from Worm, but they are found wriggling on the ground, and Cow puts them out of their misery. So Pegasus and Cow, one mystical animal, one very normal farm animal. Either way, 2v3 in the favor of Kansas State as it stands with a minute remaining. With only a Thatcher and a Buck left to go. And this is a really interesting use of the Tuberao as well, where you can see the footprints of operators that walk over your gadget, so you can maybe throw a C4 or shoot them through the wall a little bit better. Either way, yeah, you can see footprints through the floor. People usually use it for wall denial, though, so it doesn't really matter all that much. Stringman also brought down to 45 HP in these dying moments. But the dying moments might be
dropping.
Illinois' dying moments.
I like this cross from Sneaky. They are opening the wall up and oh, beautiful shot from Sneaky. That is 2. Maybe picking up a third onto Pegasus. It's 20 seconds. Pegasus is trying to at least maybe walk in a little bit. Free fire. It's a little bit rough. Almost takes down, but just gets shot down by Uni, and the round goes to Kansas.
Kind of incredible seeing the DMR have so much effectiveness. That is the AR-15 50 cal that the Maverick wields, and it's a good gun because it has a high damage caliber. Even if you can't put a 2.5, which I think you actually can on defense. I don't play Tuberao very often, but yeah, you could put the ACOG, or you used to be able to put the ACOG on that gun. Either way, it packs a punch. It absolutely shreds through defenses, and even if you peek, if you get bodied shot twice by that thing, you are out of the round. And really, Sneaky using it to great effectiveness in that round. More power to him, really. So that'll be the second site one for Kansas as well, so they'll take us all the way onto the first floor bomb site. This time, sitting inside.
If I'm not mistaken.
Yes. I knew it was like kitchen and something, and I slipped up on cafeteria. Because you know, okay, so you know that on cafe, it's kitchen service and kitchen cooking. It's kitchen and kitchen.
It's kitchen. I love
Kitchen. It's my favorite.
Yeah, the cooking kitchen. You know, it's everyone's cooking in these games, so you know we have to at least have a kitchen. But I'm
My,
actually the top floor room.
My ophthalmologist, doctor's last name is also Kitchens, and so it's Kitchen. If she replaced Teach. Anyway,
I love it. I love that. But I'm also really liking this top floor room with the castle, or the like room / hold with the castle. So verticality, right? It's been kind of the name of the game, right? That's Siege in general, but I feel like it's something that we kind of like skim over. It's like, oh yeah, they're playing vertical, but it is so important, right? If you open the wrong angles, right, you could get reverse shot through those holes. Defenders on site, you know, maybe it's like they get pushed out of an anchor spot, but you give them a free way to throw a nitro up or some interesting thing. And so, like, it's all about space. It's all about properly playing that verticality, but it's also just fun to see them, like, you know, just opening the floor. It's still satisfying, you know? A wall just gets opened with a buck. Oh, man, I love seeing it. Where a floor gets opened up, and I'm like, that was buck. I enjoyed seeing that. And it's fun. Verticality is such an important part of this game, and I think I probably wouldn't have it any other way. Especially seeing, you know, hold vertically too. It's so many cool angles. And what's also cool is you getting a headshot onto Cal. I want to say that might be the second time. I want to say Cal may have been the first pick last round too. Correct me if I'm wrong. But we do see some serious trouble. We're trying to get some presence in. And while somebody in the hallway, kind of rocking a hard place. At least somewhat. Kind of in a rough spot here. But Legion is close and probably just gonna be able to do mine, whatever is needed, and kind of hold on to this position. I really like the spot. Stringman with a shot onto Eric. That is Eric taken down. That's Thermite. So they did get the wall open at least, but Pegasus is down. Pencil goes down, and it is Cam in a 1v5. There, all right. This is your time, Cam. You got this. That's one, almost one down. That's two. Shot in the back, stuck Gumine in the foot. Unfortunate. Picks off the Warden, now 13 HP in a 1v3, 45 seconds, but he on site. Has to reload. It's a bit of a rough spot here, right? The diffuser is not in your hands. I think Legion is holding it down. And they're just playing in the hallways, right? They're not giving Cam a 1v1. And this is going to be rough for Cam to try to take this back.
Cam has some intel thanks to the yellow pings going out onto the Legion player here. But the name of the game for Kansas presently is patience. He throws out a frag grenade, but it doesn't matter. There's enough Legion mines on that too.
Go!
I think it was like at least 2.
I think it was 2. It looked like 3 actually. I'm not gonna lie. It was like 3 ticks of damage, just tick, tick, tick. Okay, so I will make it known. Legion, I hate you. I don't hate people who play Legion. I hate Legion. That was just pain. Oh.
And Cam not able to follow up on any of the carnage that had befell his teammates in
Attackers
Illinois
need to
State as
locate and
Kansas
defuse
State
as many
was
bombs as they
3-0
can.
up in the first quarter of this match. So that is the full circuit, primary, secondary, and tertiary bomb site won by the defense. And so they'll take things back up to command center and server to hopefully extend this lead. A 4-0 start would be a very strong way to start map 2 after losing Cafe 7-4. And I think that some of that comes down to the confidence with which Kansas State is allowed to stroll around on this map. Dracon and String have been so instrumental in shutting down some of the entry points for
5 seconds to
the
insertion.
Illinois State attackers. And the
Attackers
Illinois
are moving
State,
out to locate
it's,
a bomb and defuse it.
I don't know, it's been, I think they've been doing some things right. They've been getting themselves into positions, but they haven't been swinging it. You look at the kills overall for Illinois State presently, and Cam is on 3, Cal is on 2. The rest of Illinois State has yet to find a single kill in these opening 3 rounds. So it's been a very, very good start for Kansas State so far.
It's been pretty dominant. Like, look at the flip side, right? Like, and obviously, like with Kansas, they had a couple runs like Cafe, and then it kind of went towards Illinois really hard. But with this, like, if they keep the momentum up, if they keep playing the way that they're playing, which is efficient, right? You're going down the space you got. You're playing really, really efficient roams. Like, the roams have been really impactful. They've just been able to basically backstab Illinois the entirety of the last 3 rounds, to be honest. And it's been a little bit rough for Illinois, like, trying to take the space, trying to take them out. This is their map pick, so maybe there's something going wrong. Maybe there's a small kick that they're playing. Maybe it's like their timing's been thrown off a little bit. I think if they lose this round, which I honestly don't think will happen, I totally believe in Illinois here. Though, Stringman wants to make that happen by taking down Pencil and possibly even getting a pre-fire wall. We might see a timeout, but I fully believe in Illinois. I think they got this. They're showing some pretty well strats. Worm does take down Cal though. Beautiful headshot. Oh, tries to overswing, but Shimmy gets taken down by Eric. 6 HP Maverick though. Cam does get taken down by Dracon.
Eric knows that there's a player inside a warehouse, but peeks away at the wrong time. Worm puts a few bullets in that player's head. And now it's Pegasus on the roof, taking a French timeout. 1:15 left in the round, and they know that they have a lot of work to do. Pegasus and Pencil are still both killless through these opening 4 rounds, and Eric has 1 to his name. Cam and Cal both have 3 and 2 apiece, but with lines like this, there might be some rounds that are going close. Sometimes like 3-0 doesn't tell the full story of what's actually happening in Siege, but those KD lines, when combined with the current round count, really paints a clear picture of the fact that Illinois State has been feeling extremely uncomfortable on this map so far, and Kansas State has been running absolutely rampant with it so far. So Pegasus drops outside of IT wall. The timeout is over. Grab the diffuser and peek towards IT, fire out some free shots, maybe get a kill. It isn't a flawless round for Kansas State so far, but it might as well be at this point in time. Pegasus does get 1, so Pencil will be the last player to remove that donut from their score line, and Uni get the last kill. Bullets ring out for a 4-0 round advantage for Kansas State.
That was a really nice flick. I think that was a really nice shot. Like, obviously, you know, the round, I think Illinois kind of accepted that it was a bit rough. Choosing maybe not to use their timeout just yet, rather than, like, kind of use some of the round that they had to kind of take a break, take a breather, kind of do, like, a mid-round timeout, and then if that adaptation doesn't work, maybe save it for the other half. I respect that decision, you know. Instead of just trying to, like, send it in and make something happen, they're choosing to, like, sit down and rather than win the round now, win the next 2 rounds, and really try to make that impact, right? 1 round is nice, but yeah, it's pretty well played. Like, Kansas has been feeling very dominant. They've been playing consistently together. They've been holding down the site. They haven't really been overextending. I think that was one thing that we saw, especially like on the side of Kansas last map. They were kind of overextending, especially with like the Amos. We noticed that they would like really try to push into it. And they're kind of playing the reverse, right? They're holding their positions. They're playing as a team. They're playing on their utility.
10
And
seconds
they've been
remaining.
holding the sites really well, and Illinois just hasn't been able to crack those small bits, and it's been like
5
building
seconds
up
left
each
before
round,
insertion.
allowing Kansas to just keep winning these rounds. Pretty
Attackers,
determined.
locate and defuse a bomb.
I think the key word for Kansas State on this defense has been steadfast. I don't think I've seen a whole lot from them that says that they have felt uncomfortable or shaken by whatever Illinois State has been trying to do. Sure, Illinois State might have picked this map, but it's also possible that it's a map that they're comfortable on. And the problem with comfortability is that you also can run into complacency. A smoke grenade goes out, a Maverick line is drawn in the wall, and a Glasgope is here to peek through it to catch any players unaware. A second smoke grenade goes out to hopefully continue to obscure this, and oh, this might actually be an angle, but a thermite charge goes out, denied by the bandit, or wide angle. But nothing claimed for Pencil so far, so they'll still be hunting for that first kill in this game. With 2 minutes left on the clock, and Tomber out here denying so much time from the main walls.
I really like Tuber out here. Basement has been like from what I have seen from labs specifically, I've kind of liked seeing Tuber out. Honestly, I like seeing like all these cool. Okay, well first we see the shot from Cal, pretty nice pro shot. It's kind of like what I was talking about with Maverick, right? Like Tuber doesn't show up all the time, but Uni is showing up. Headshot of the cam. Dracon picks up a kill onto Pencil. So Kansas is now in the lead again. So 4v3. Yudi is seeing some toes maybe to shoot through the breach. Oh, what a good shot from Cal. Sneaky gets a refrag onto Eric. They might try to stick this. Cal it might just be in a position where he just has to stick. But can no longer because Pegasus is down from the verticality from Worm. Bandit is close and knifed. It's a knife kill. Okay, so what? 1 minute 10. Cal in an interesting spot. Lights sneaking up.
Attackers dropped the defuse.
Oh, Dracon! That was a really nice shot. Playing the angles properly, but oh my gosh, first knife kill. I don't think I've seen a knife kill at all yet this season, personally. Have you?
Aside from, I think the the game that we casted before this between Ohio and Marquette, there was a player who got downed by Capitao, and they meleeed for the knife kill. But aside from that, an outright knife kill? No, I've not. Kansas State goes up 5-0 after the attack goes awry on the main wall. You saw the two Brow canisters going out on the main site wall. And after the two Brow canister dissipated, the bandit was up. The thermite charge was still on the wall there as well and had not been retrieved. All the Thatcher EMP nades had been used, so that only left Maverick to open up the walls, which had worked out quite well. However, no soft breach available with which to break open those then soft walls that had been opened by the Maverick, caused Illinois State to have extremely limited options in terms of their point of attack. I think that their plan was, of course, to get the main wall open and then have some verticality play off of that. And when the main wall doesn't get open and the verticality gets killed by the players roaming upstairs, a lot of their attacking plan falls apart. Pencil still killless through all of this and still seeking to make an impact for this team, but still, Kansas State playing 5-0 proves that they have done their homework on this map and that they are more than ready to play it.
Yeah, I mean, it's impressive from Kansas, right? I think it's another thing to point out, we talk about kill lines, but Kansas is even across the board, right? So maybe this wasn't their map pick, but I think the reason, right? So if a map gets that far, right, we're looking at a second map. There was 4 map bans up until that point, if I remember correctly. 4 map bans, and so it got through those. So they don't feel too bad about playing the map, and right now they're definitely not feeling too bad about playing it, except for a hatch shot from Cal, kills Uni, Sneaky gets a refrag onto Cal. So back to even across the board. 2 minutes. It kind of sucks that you lose the buck, especially with like I don't exactly know how much verticality there is for the site in particular, but I feel like it definitely sucks to lose a buck. It's not something that I would be like, oh my gosh, I want to lose my buck. Nobody wants that. And so it's a little unfortunate, but the pick is really nice. You know, you kill the Legion. Legion has been a pain. Killing it early, it's huge.
Hive deployed.
You see the Grim Bees going out from Pencil. They're looking to make something happen on the wall. Maybe kill this player or players upstairs. We do see Worm kind of working their way through the upstairs. Maybe getting a flank off. Maybe falling back to the to Drakon on the other side of the map. So it's kind of like a give and take, you know. Illinois is like taking a lot of map space. Kansas is kind of giving it up, but there's no actual kills, you know. It's just kind of an ebb and flow like a wave.
To me, that drop from Cal reads as frustration. Uni is the player who falls, but Cal falls themselves, and now it's still in a 4v4 situation. And you are right, losing a buck sucks because you lose a player, but Cafeteria and Kitchen does have a lot of verticality. You have the room of meeting above it that has a lot of the wooden floor that you typically see a rum thrown into. And with it being a 4v4 with 50 seconds remaining and no verticality, and you still have to get the main wall open, I don't know. I feel like Illinois State's chances are rather dire, especially after Cam falls to Sneaky, who will claim a second onto Pencil, who's still seeking to change that donut into something at all. Drakon to pile on the misery, as Eric will claim, well, be claimed for a non-flawless round, but a flawless half. 6-0 for Kansas State.
That's for broke folk, as Pencil says. Unfortunate. It's for, I guess, too rich to win an attack. I mean, you know, funny. I like that they're able to. Obviously, there's frustration, right? You lose rounds. You're down 0-6, and it sucks. But being able to, you know, make light of the moment, it shows that at the end of it all, it is a game, and that's not to take away from the competitive aspect, but it's to understand that you're to, above all, have fun. And so, while Illinois may be down 0-6, and I don't think they're out of this just yet, I have a little bit of confidence, a little bit of faith in Illinois here. I think they can make something happen, and I think above all, they're just trying to, you know, enjoy themselves and play some good siege, with their friends.
They are. However, the round is 16. You may be able to play good siege with your friends, but consider this bragging rights. Those are pretty hot. Kansas State is up 6-0. They have all the bragging rights in the world if they manage a 7-0 Illinois State here with one simple attacking round win. It'll be quite the statement to go into lair, with both of these maps kind of flip-flopping back and forth. 7-4 is not a close round differential, but 7-0 is complete and utter humiliation for the team that's on the receiving end of it, and complete domination by the team who has dealt that round score to them. A hold on to second floor command might be the start of things going right for Illinois State, but they have to win a flawless half like their opponents did on defense to win this game. And I gotta say, chances of that happening are extremely low.
Leveling their defenses!
I think so did the Cali. They're trying to, you know, get the bandit, place this thing down, and then snipe it off the wall. I like that a lot. It's a very heads-up play. I've always liked the bandit minigame. In a lot of games, you know, there's this kind of thing, but I think in Siege, it's very exaggerated, right? I mean, you've got Bandit and Caden, you've got so many. I mean, you've got like Callie, you've got Maverick, you've got an Ace trying to open the wall, getting Bandit tricked, and I think they're opening this with the Thermite. Yup, that's why they bring the double hard breach. Cal gets a shot on the string. That's huge. Like that, starting the half off with the opening pick is massive, right? You need that, and it's a pick onto the Nomad, so that's the flank watch down. I don't know if there's going to be a lot of roaming on the side of Illinois completely. I think they might play a little bit more and trying to, you know, tug onto the side and play together. But honestly, that Nomad pick, I think this is going to push Illinois in the right direction. And I'm curious to see what happens here. Oh, we might see a pick. Uni just barely missing out on a kill here. Impacting the wall for the Thermite to be able to open it. So now we have IT wall open as well. So we have the main walls are both open. Maybe we can start seeing Kansas try to, you know, pincer in a little bit. Illinois might try to fight back a little bit, maybe play a little bit more aggressive.
Potentially, but there's still a minute and 18 left to play, and Eric has been dropped down to less than half of his HP pool here. And with a lot of the preemptive work by Kansas State done, you have to wonder as well what Illinois State's going to be able to do to counteract that. Although Pencil does find... Pencil got their kill.
Pencil got mine.
Took 7 rounds, but got their first kill, so that might actually be the start of Illinois State's good fortunes here. 3 players remaining for Kansas State. Make that 2 as
Make that
Pencil
2 for
cuts down.
Pencil.
I mean, you've more than doubled your kill count so far.
Number 2 Pencil.
Leaving-
Let's go.
Number
See it happen.
2 Pencil.
Number 2 Pencil. I want to see it happen. You know, I want to see this because I think this is Pencil fighting this doorway here too. It's a bit of a rough, and I kind of hope Pencil like doesn't swing. But I get why, right? You know, your team is. I think it's like it's a lineup, bro. They're just all holding the exact same angle. You swing and you are going to get dumpstered so fast. But I like the
15
aggression, trying to like
seconds
maybe attack from the side, having a little bit more space to clear. Ace tries to push in. Pencil gets. Pencil's back on the board. All right, Pencil can do this. Illinois can do this, right? They flawless round. It was 4 players alive. Pencil gets 3, breaking the curse, coming in full swinging, right? So they have to play this match point, right? They cannot make a major mistake or any mistakes, right? Kansas has been on top of it. They make a mistake, they're capitalizing. But with Illinois, I kind of noticed Illinois' defense is so strong. Their offense is so surgical, but I really like the way that they play the defense. Honestly, I've been liking like the total way that they play it.
Defenders, protect
I don't
your
know. I
bombs
like the way
from
that
being
Illinois
used
played
by
that
attackers.
defense, especially. It felt clinical. It felt surgical. It felt very. It felt they were trying to do one specific thing, and they did it, and it worked. And Pencil has 3 kills, and I'm hyped.
If Illinois State do win this, we do get to an overtime game again for the 3rd time this evening. But Kansas State's still only 1 round away from winning things all. It'll have to be up to more heroics like Pencil.
10
I mean,
seconds
Pencil
remaining.
coming alive at the end of the round, they were not too poor
5 seconds
to win at least
insertion.
1 round. So they'll stave off the 7-0 defeat with 1 round.
Moving out to locate a
But
bomb
even
and
so,
defuse it.
match point, again, staring you in the face. You have to play this so extremely carefully if you're playing as Illinois State, but you can't play with too much care. You can't give too much space to Kansas State. In Kansas State, they want to take that space. Look at this operator lineup that they have. They have the Blitz, they have the Sledge, they have the Finca. These are operators that want to open up as much as they possibly can and also take as much space as possible. So a drone goes out. They know that this player is sitting on back stairs. Maybe a swing. Well, Eric actually just runs back to site.
I thought that was a player. And I'm like, are you guys just gonna like stare at each other? No, it was a teammate. But one thing I've
Stare at
noticed,
each other lovingly.
dropping, they're trying to run it down. Okay, Cal with a pick on a worm. Cam and I think. Oh my gosh, it's just kills ring out. Eric had 3. Okay, so they tried to run it down and immediately got blasted to high hell, and it is now string in a 1v5 with 2 minutes on the clock. That was in 1 minute. We see Eric get 3, and I think Cam got the other, if I remember correctly. That is incredibly impressive, and Illinois is not letting up. I was gonna point out their comp, but maybe a little irrelevant. But I think it's important to point out here while we're letting String kind of do his thing. They're playing a little bit more like information or space denial rather. So rather than the way that Kansas were playing their defense, they're playing the tube around wall denial. They decided that okay, if the wall gets open, it's not a big deal. Instead, we're gonna play mirror. We're gonna deny that space with the mirror. We're gonna use Goyo to hold our backs. We're gonna use Legion to just be a pain, and then Mute's going to help protect a lot of that with the Bandit. And so, not as much of a Bandit minigame, rather than just holding the site and gripping it like it's life.
The only thing that Stringman can really prevent at this point is a flawless round for Illinois State. As they come out swinging on the defensive half, they finally turned on their monitors, it seems, and have found how to shoot back. Cal also, despite the absolutely
Attackers recovered the
grim
diffuser.
scoreline, has found themselves with 11 kills so far in these 7 rounds. So definitely no slouch in terms of their playing capability here. Stringman walks down the stairs, but it'll be penciled
flawless.
to claim the flawless round. Illinois State.
I mean, I'm looking at this, right? So this is the thing with Illinois. It's possible. So one of the things with map picks that you kind of have to understand is sometimes, right, maybe there's a certain side. Maybe they know they can get just 1 or 2 rounds, maybe with a weird cheese strat, or with they have like this one site that they can hit really, 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 really well. And then the other ones they don't really care about, but maybe for Illinois, it's their defense, right? Maybe they've labbed this and labbed it for hours and hours, and this is why they
Attackers
chose
need to
labs,
locate
right?
and
Their
defuse
offense is
bombs.
maybe good enough, and it's like, oh, we can get a round or two here. But their
Attackers have
defense
discovered the
being
location of a
major.
bomb.
I mean, dominant, right? It was a 4 players alive and then a flawless, right? They have dropped a single player in 2 rounds after going 0-6. Pencil is 4-6 on the board, like. They have turned this around so quick, and if they can keep this momentum, they can take it to overtime and then blow Kansas out of the water. I don't know if it's going to happen. It's a little too early to tell, but if it keeps going this way, if Illinois keeps playing to what seems to be their strength on this map, I have high hopes for this.
10 seconds remaining.
Kansas State as well, leaning into a more aggressive composition with the Ying
Attackers are heading out to
Nomad
defuse a bomb.
Zofia. Now something, well, a little more utility clear heavy, yes, with the IQ, but I always see Ying, and I think that this is the operator that you pick when you want to try and just go for sites, when you want to try and go for broke. Also, some players bringing the Zofia out more, because I think that the Zofia recently got the heart recharges as secondary. Now, Uni's not running the heart recharges presently, running the Claymores instead, but something that has brought this operator back into the public eye a little bit more as a kind of alternative to Ash as she was back in the ye old days. And then people have realized, like, oh yeah, actually this operator is kind of fun. You also get concussion grenades. You can get information on where operators are sitting if you know they're sitting around corners. You can get a little bit of intel denial by muting in terms of audio a player's ability to hear things, and so on and so forth. Zofia is a decent operator. I think it's just the speed nerf that has really harmed her, and Ash has been a little bit more preferable, but I'm not surprised to see her nowadays because of the changes that have been made.
Yeah, I mean, I love seeing Zofia. For the longest time, she's been one of those operators where, again, I feel like she falls more into the general category rather than like a specific tool for a job. She might fall into the type of like a hammer, right? You're not gonna use it for everything, but man, when you need a hammer, you just send that hammer at it. It's gonna work. Like Zofia has so much util clear, right? Sure, Ash is a little bit better at clearing hard destruction, but Zofia is, if you want to push something like you were saying, you're getting it. They're trying to get in here. Sneaky gets a pick onto Pencil. Unfortunate. We see Warden maybe trying to fight the Ying here. It's gonna be kind of tough trying to get in. Maybe they don't. No, they know exactly where the Warden is. They know the ping. I think that's actually coming out from Cal. Sneaky manages to pick one and string, so Pegasus and Eric both go down as a 5v2 in the favor of Kansas State. Warden is kind of stuck in the corner, gets pre-fired, does manage to get one. Okay, so Cam and Cal both manage to get one. Worm does drop Cal, and now it is Cam in a 1v3. Diffuser is going down. Zophia's 20 HP. It's a bit rough for Cam here, right? You have some verticality, but they are so solidified on the side. The bulletproof goes down. Zofia, I think, is... Oh, for Frost. That makes more sense. And gets taken down by... Oh no, by Draken. And Kansas just cleans up. That's the map.
Not a 7-4, not a 7-0, but something kind of in between in a 7-2. This time going the other way around towards the team that didn't pick the map either. Kansas State wins Nighthaven Lab 7-2. And we'll be going to a third map in the form of Lair. What an absolutely bizarre set of circumstances. It looked like there might have been Illinois State hitting a bit of their stride as they got into the latter half of that map, but it was too little, too late, and they do eventually fall, at least not to the all-embarrassing 7-0, but not exactly their strongest showing either.
No, it's a bit unfortunate. They played really well, but I think part of that might have been, maybe it was the map, maybe it was just small things that were happening, but especially on defense, right? You can get one or two really good holds, but I feel like with siege maps especially, like a lot of them have like one, maybe two really good sites, but once you start getting into tertiary and maybe the forbidden fourth site, depending on the map, it can get a little difficult to like guarantee that defense. And so like they were hitting their stride, right? We had people getting kills left and right. They were playing it, and then we saw a player tick down, and then another on the side of Illinois, and then it came down to basically, can you hold the side against an entire team? And it was a good try from, I think, Cal on the Warden, but just a little too late for them to be able to keep the ball rolling, and it was unfortunate, but it was incredibly well played by Kansas. Like, obviously, Illinois, it's unfortunate, but you have to look at the bright side of, like, Kansas played really well. Like, after losing Cafe, this isn't their map pick, right? Both teams have won the map that's not their map pick, so it's a bit flipped. Winning that 7-2, pretty well off. It was incredibly well played.
And that it was. And before we get into map number 3, we're going to take ourselves to a slight break. Don't go anywhere. Oh, whenever production.
It's total calamity, total mayhem inside of the server. Out of nowhere, they find the round back into their favor.
Holding up for the blood, the wait! And I think he might just find it!
Tap, tap, yeah, I want that. No lines, I don't cut back. Sweet, salty, and all that. Let loose, come get that. Can you play that back, back, back? Can you run that back, back, back? I'm trying to play that back, back, back. I want that. Tap, tap, let's go, let's go. Tap, tap, let's go, let's go. Tap, tap, let's go, let's go. Right here, can you feel? Let's go. Tap, tap, let's go, let's go. Tap, tap, let's go, let's go. Tap, tap, let's go, let's go. Right here, can you feel that? Ooh, you feel that? Ooh, the real back. Ooh, I'm still that. Ooh, you catch that? Ooh, I guess that. The best back. Yeah, yeah. 30,000 up, I'm a pilot. Might jump out if I'm wildin'. Catch my flow, I'm so stylish. Tap, tap, real smooth. Can you play that back, back, back? Can you run that back, back, back? I'm trying to play that back, back, back. I want that. Tap, tap, let's go, let's go. Tap, tap, let's go, let's go. Tap, tap, let's go, let's go. Right here, can you feel? Let's go.
Oh.
Pick from IUPUI, the flash comes out, trying to push out connector. I'm sorry. And now it's looking like a 1v right there, waiting for the drop. It go down. We'll
Okay.
see one. Push when they got him pushed back. Gets another one, gets another one. Oh, they're gonna.
Valley One Beats.
Welcome back, friends, to the final map for tonight's matches of Midwest R6. I'm Sojourner Kai. I'm not joined by Arcade Pro Alex anymore as he had to go, but I am joined by the lovely Titanium Titan, who will be helping me cast this final match. So thank you so much for joining us in last minute. And have you seen the matches before? What do you think of what we've seen here on Nighthaven Labs? The absolute thrashing 7-2, really.
Yeah, I got to catch the bit of the end of it, really, and it was interesting to watch how they were playing, just how dominant Kansas was on their, was it defense, I believe?
Yeah, it was so Kansas State on their defense, they went 6-0 on that first half and then got the one round that they needed on attack after attacking for 3 rounds. But even so, with Illinois State's, I think Idaho, but Illinois State's defenses, even though they had a couple of good ones, you just knew that match point was always around the corner, and
Yeah.
eventually Kansas State capitalized on it.
That's the hardest part about going 6-0 on any map, or even getting to match point, is that it's only one round away. And so looking at the stats here, we see that a lot of Illinois State being negative, but also Cal just trying to make sure the team's pushing through. And then a lot of good kill spread for Kansas State, and Sneaky pulling ahead for their team.
Yeah, and it's kind of cool seeing Sneaky pull ahead for Kansas State because Drakon was the one who was putting up double digits in the previous map and on Cafe. And so seeing that role kind of bounce around might be a little bit map dependent. Some people might feel more comfortable on some specific maps. But to me, that speaks to the fact that Kansas State, despite losing 7-4 on Cafe, they still have the depth necessary to carry rounds out. As we get ourselves into map number 3, it is Lair, the newest addition to the professional map pool, taking over Oregon. First ban will be Deimos. No Deimos allowed for Cam in these last 2 maps. And I don't know, what other operator bans do we have here?
Have they been using the Deimos? Yeah. Definitely been a lot of bans with my own team, seeing Deimos whenever we use it against the team very prolifically. So seeing the Deimos ban is not necessarily strange in my opinion. Monty, definitely a strong ban right now in the current meta, just to get map control very early, very fast with Monty. I wonder what they're going to ban on defense on Lair, just because of how big the map is. Personally, I think Valk's a good ban. Vigil, that boss G is very menacing. Can be very effective.
And last ban, I'm going to guess it should be the Mira, but a Valkyrie is a good shout. Azami as well, and yes, it is the Azami. I guess if I say enough defensive operators, I'll run across the one that gets removed from the roster, but the Kiba barrier is proving to be a little bit too powerful on Lair, and that makes a lot of sense. You see a lot of these sites that, even though the map is pretty big, it's kind of like in Consulate, right? Like Consulate's a map that you can see Kiba barriers used to create effectiveness because of the angles that you're able to create pretty much out of thin air with that operator, while also having so much of the map for them to clear through.
Very true. It's also very interesting just to see how they're going to try and play this. Mozzie, a very good pick here as well, trying to deny any drones instead of mute, where they might just try and leave the drones further away. Just try and get the intel and try and actually steal it from them. Valk can be very good, but especially on this map, where even hiding the cams is good, stealing their drones gets it off the board and gives you the drone back, so you're adding cams to the board midway through the round. It's just a definitely interesting operator.
10 seconds left.
I think one of the fascinating things about Lair compared to a lot of other maps is that it feels like a bunch of long connected hallways all put together, and Mozzie, I feel, can deny those long connected hallways because of how it's a pretty linear path for a drone to take, and if they can't take that linear path anymore, then they are effectively denied just as effectively as a mute, without having to bring such a slow operator as mute, without having to bring just the shotgun as your primary, when you can instead bring the P10 Roni. Of course, you do have the MP5K for mute, and that's some semantics going on there on how you want to play mute specifically, but people usually bring mute in a more supportive role, whereas Mozzie feels more like the fragging variation at this point in time, especially with the extra pest being added, so some more utility for him. as we get underway on our attack. Illinois State attacking towards kind of the backside over by Blue Stairs, it looks like. So we'll see
Yeah,
how
it
that pans out.
does seem like they're trying to take more control of this bathroom and R6 room side, but more interestingly for me is that they're bringing this Maverick Ace combo, as well as something I don't know if we saw through the other maps, but they're bringing the Brava, very strong operator, and might be useful against these Mozzies, but just depends on how it's used out through the map.
I think we saw a little bit of Brava on Cafe, but that does make sense because this Cafe has operators that are operator selections that are usually pretty vulnerable to Brava. One of those drones shot out. No kills so far. A minute and a half gone in the round. Illinois State still pushing up on their attacks here, but they'll have to find the roam of worm. I think they hear the shot come out from these stairs. We're not exactly sure how things are going here. Maverick will also punch through the wall, but a C4 might be claiming the kill. No, it will not. 19 HP is all that remains for Pencil, except Draken is good for it.
Draken traded out by...
I thought that was actually a kill through the wall into that, but Cam will be the one to knock Worm flat on their feet. Stringman on a wide swing here. Cow is victim to that MP7. Sneaky with another one onto Eric. And it's a 3v2 situation. Illinois State, only 40 seconds left to salvage what remains of their team to gather a round win. But otherwise, it looks like Kansas State is in prime position to push things over the line here.
Definitely looked like Kansas State is just trying to set up to hold the crosses here, especially on that Nomad. They're having a crossfire hold them off, and then trying to make sure they don't enter behind is the Mira. Aren't able to get the Mira though.
15 seconds remaining.
Nomad able to get Jaeger. Bandit's probably going to try and play below for a C4. They should have cams. Bandit's actually going to have to go around for a flank.
Attackers have
Going to have to go for a
recovered
plant. Gonna stick it. Going for the revive.
Attackers are activating the
We'll get it off.
Oh. That's unlucky
Nomad
that the
left it.
revive animation pops him up through the hole that was visible to the attacker. Stringman does knock down one. Cam is on only about 3 HP. In fact, it's exactly 3 HP with 30 seconds left on the
Defenders have
clock.
located the diffuser.
All that Cam has to do is play keep away. You do have an air jab available, and you have the ARX there. Very, very close measures as they stand in the back of R6 room. The last player a little caught unawares of where the player was. Without that C4 to claim the round kill, Illinois State wins, but on very thin margins.
It's definitely close there for both teams, able to get that bomb down, and I think unfortunately just that Jaeger being popped up when the Bravo was sitting there waiting for it just made it much harder for the
Defenders,
casters
protect
to
your
even,
bombs from being
or not,
defused by attackers.
made it much harder for the defenders to even just hold it off. They did opt to go basement instead of go upstairs again. I do think the basement side is the much easier side to hold on layer, just playing it personally.
It's a lot like the last. Let's see. What does this basement remind me of? It reminds me of again, like Consulate basement. I think of large maps. I think of Consulate, and on Consulate you have a basement with all these extra angles that you have to worry about when you're on attack. And it's very much the same on Lair here, right? And also, shout out to all of you watching at home, and especially those in the LU watch party. Thank you very much for watching, fellas. Appreciate you for watching at home and keeping with us this late into the evening. I know we've gone a little bit over schedule, but I hope you're enjoying some entertaining Siege back with all the buds. Shout out to our friends over there. And we are still one round up, 30 seconds down for the start of things, and things are shaping up quite nicely for Illinois State. The opening picks have gone the way of the defense, which is
Attackers have located a bomb.
typical, I would say. The pacing of these games have been a little bit slow because both of these teams are having to play this so patiently. As I say that, though, Pencil, who had 0 kills in the opening 6 rounds of Night Haven Labs, will claim the very first casualty, Stringman, on that Fenrir vault. So no more access to that MP7 in their hands. Though Sneaky makes it so that Pencil can't take any more down with them. 4-4 scoreline so far. C4 goes flying out, doesn't take a player down with it though. Players, both teams vying for position here on this basement bomb site.
And it does look like ISU's trying to take that medical hall into filtration right now, just trying to take a bunch of map control over the B site. Trying to see if the defenders might get a flank here from the lockers area. They do have a lot of control over the B site, and it looks like they're trying to hold the angle into the filtration hall as well. How able to get one? Yep, that's right. I do believe that was in the B site. Flashing out into that back hole. I don't know the calls on this map, but it looks like they're just trying to hold off so they can try and execute onto the site.
Eric gets one more. The attack looks well positioned to win it here, and Eric gets the last one. It's Uni from Kansas State, who will be the final defender to fall to a hail of lead. The basement bomb site, despite the fact that it is a site that has an entire maze to get into it, most of that attack was won off-site by frags being collected elsewhere. The second round goes in the favor of Illinois State, a 2-0 lead. So far, much better than what they had in Nighthaven Labs, to be sure. I mean, they started off 0-6, so seeing a 2-0 is a great start for Illinois State. But Kansas State will definitely be looking to make their claim here in these next couple of rounds.
I mean, especially on attack, I feel personally attacking, getting rounds early, just helps team mental.
Device activated.
I know just getting rounds early in any map is important to get mental up, but I think especially on attack, those rounds are always feeling harder because you're the ones taking back map control. And for just making sure that you get your early mental up is very good. And on layer, we're just going to have to see how Illinois defends at this point, but I think depending on how they win out the rest of this map, I think they could have a really good start here and a really good momentum starting.
Well, you take one more round and you have one half of the possible rounds on attack in regulation, and that's a huge morale boost, really, like you said. Like you said, you play Siege regularly, competitively, right? So, what do you think is so good about not just winning rounds early, but winning rounds on attack, especially for Lair? Is Lair more defender-sided, do you feel?
I don't necessarily think about just Lair in particular. I think just winning attacking rounds on most maps make you feel like, even if maps are necessarily attacker or defender sided, winning on attack feels much better than winning on defense, even if it's a clutch situation or something like that. But I think we'll see the rest of this map play out through the SI that's gone on. We haven't really seen, I don't remember the stats for this map, whether it's attacker or defender sided, but it's just my opinion, and I think some others agree and some disagree. So
I guess it would also depend on your team cohesion. I feel like attack is the side that you need to be a lot more precise on, because with defense, you always have the clock working with you, right? And you can sit back and hold angles and wait for attackers to push into you, and you have this almost leniency in a way that defense gives you in Rainbow Six that attack really doesn't. And so I think not only in terms of morale, attack gives you the opportunity to show off just how good your team actually is as playing as a cohesive unit. Maverick over here inside of weapon display.
and
The wall, it actually gets flanked, but no, Worm doesn't even know where the player is, possibly blending into the wall slightly. Uni does get one back, but kind of a freebie offered up for Cal there.
I see you're falling apart a bit.
You would think after that opening kill went the way of ISU that things would have been set up for them quite well, but Kansas State, they hold their ground and ring one back despite all the odds.
It seemed like ISU's been able to walk through that backside pretty carefree, but it looked like they just tried to go for a window hop in with no pressure until like they thought It seemed like they were thinking because they got the kill on the guy on the backside, there was going to be no pressure on them hopping into the bathroom or the side window there for sight. But
Attackers need to
I
locate
believe
and
it was
defuse bombs.
Worm or whoever Jaeger was able to just frag out and kill out 3 of them. So just, I think a misplanning on ISU's part.
Well, it wasn't Worm, because Worm is our dear friend Owen. As in Owen 3.
Yeah.
I believe it was Uni that was on the
makes
Jaeger
sense.
last round.
I think it's also just placement. I think Jaeger was on the right and Uni is on the right, so that would make sense.
Oh, yeah.
So,
Well,
but
it
yeah,
does
I think
happen.
ISU's taking that backside for
10 seconds.
easy, and then they tried to hop in the bathroom side. And so I think if they had
5
just
seconds
taken more
left
time to
before
take the
insertion.
back wall where the Maverick was, they would have had a much better time trying to win
Attackers are moving
that
out to
fight
locate
rather
a
than trying to
bomb.
hop in the window.
That's a good point. Taking the site back down to basement again, which the attack had won, but sometimes on those attack rounds or on those one-off defensive rounds that you play that the attack wins, it does feel like a bit of a fluke. And I think that the decision for Kansas State to allow Illinois State to take a lot of the fights off-site and play a lot of the vertical was something that they can very obviously was a mistake. And because of that, I expect to see some adjustments here, and we do see that a lot. We see one player roaming, and it's a Scopos, the operator that can teleport. So even with Scopos being off-site, are they really off-site for very long? Sources are saying no, because you can press a button and you're back on-site yet again if your shell is back where it's supposed to be. I see making a lot of drone work of this upper floor as well, looking for these roaming players, but like I said, I think that outside of the Scopus, you really don't have a lot of defensive presence from Kansas State, and it's because they don't want to give the early advantage to Illinois. C4 goes flying, doesn't do any damage though, it's just more of a Hail Mary more than anything. And there's the Scopus, String Man stringing together the first kill for Kansas State, as Cam is one to fall, the best performing player for ISU in these opening rounds. But now
It does seem like that Scopus, like you're saying, is being very valuable to them. But also, this place that ISU is holding is a very strong position for them to try and hold. Eric just getting a frag, but getting traded out, or no, that was Pencil and Cal going down. That Scopus still just getting so much value just away. Stringman, I think, went back into sight now. Had no purpose being upstairs.
Scopus is very much the embodiment of like, what are you doing there? Why are you up here? It's like, well, because I can teleport.
I mean, yeah, and that's also what roamers are good for, wasting time. These two ISU players stacked up on each other trying to isolate fights, but
Attackers recover the diffuser.
we're gonna see if Pegasus can get this.
Attackers bomb diffuser has been dropped.
Stringman gets the last
Attackers have
kill.
recovered their diffuser.
Definitely an interesting round and great change up from Kansas right there. I think that was good adjustments from them, but also I think it's a bit of intel loss from Illinois right there, just not preparing for them to be flanking and making adjustments. They played it exactly the same as they did the first round, and they they had 2 players up on the one they round, the round they won, versus this round they had 4 defenders up. So I think it's just about the defenders are making adjustments, and the attackers weren't expecting the adjustments that were made.
You have to kind of wonder that the adjustments that are being made is that intermittent flexibility, but I think the attackers have the ability to be more flexible in their operator picks if they are droning things out. I agree. I think that it does seem that Illinois almost didn't prepare for the round to go the way that it did, because you can see they're still droning out medical, they're still droning out lobby and everything on the first floor, expecting something to be there, and really it was only the Scopos who was sitting up on like mezzanine and bathroom on the second floor, which isn't really a location you would expect a defender to be sitting, but at the same time, you have to wonder, like, okay, well, if they're playing vertical with one player, maybe we just don't worry about one player, or you hunt down the one player. What I'm saying is that Illinois State felt like it was more of a half measure.
And they also had
both those places.
Nomad on the board, and so hopefully you'd think like try and place those Nomads down as early as possible if you want to like let and forget. Even though they can be shot, even if they're placed in pretty good places, just try and make sure you can like have a little bit of roam clear. That's why like gridlock also is just like try and get those out as fast as possible so you don't have to think I have 2 gridlockers in my pocket and there's 30 seconds left of the round and someone's flanked. It's just that kind of identity. But Cow getting wormed, rushing into that back door.
Incoming adrenaline boost.
Very good kill from ISU. One more pushing up. Warden swings out, gets Cow. Uni gets damage back though. Does look like they're trying to push a very similar push from their upstairs attack, trying to get all that vert control for the mid site.
They're not being given anything here on the attack. I mean, sure, you're able to get the smoke who was caught off on a rotate, which is an unfortunate player to lose that earlier, especially that specific operator. And as I say, that Uni also goes down, so you don't have the Warden available to use. Stringman doesn't get hit by the Zofia, or maybe he does, but either way, the M5 is good enough to bring out Cam's death. Pegasus brought down to 5 HP before they can trade out the mute player who had been sitting there.
Actually,
as
I think
well.
Pegasus got shot by the mute. Just Pegasus is a 3 armor.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Guys, the Dracon. I think Dracon here might just need to head out. It's a 2v2 with a minute left, and the attackers don't have any control other than Vert. Sneaky able to get the kill on the vertical. And last person is probably going to go for the wall. Ace here. 43 seconds left. It's going to be tough for him to make sure he has all this control and try and drone anybody out with no intel.
You do have
Attackers
some
recovered the
verticality to play with, but it's kind of useless when you don't have the map control available for
Bomb
you.
located by attackers.
Wants to peek the hatch and drop directly into briefing here, but won't end up happening. Oh, Dracon actually nearly caught on a rotate, so they're well aware that this player is up here. He's on the back of these pillars here. 30 HP left for him. He's got no ammo left in the AK-12, and he has no HP left in his health bar. That'll be a round win for the defense. A little bit hairy at some points, but Kansas State stands their ground, and they'll be the victors in round number 5. After all is said and done, that'll make 3 rounds in a row, by the way, for the Central Midwest state.
I definitely think it's going to be interesting how Illinois adapts this last round. They're going
Attackers need to
to
locate
go
and
upstairs
defuse
again
as
for
many
the
bombs as they
defense.
can.
As we saw in their second upstairs attack, they were able to just get in that backside freely, but then they all hopped in that, I'm guessing R6 room window. I don't know exactly what the call out is, but if they do that again, let's see if, I don't know if Kansas is going to put any pressure back there, because they didn't have the Mozzie swing all the way around the corner, but it's going to be very interesting, in my opinion, just because they just were hopping in and trying to get as much map control as fast as possible, but vaulting leaves you so vulnerable in that position.
10 seconds left.
And it looks like Kansas is doing just a very similar setup. I think they have a
5
Legion
seconds
swapped out for
remaining.
the Jaeger this time, though.
They have it. That makes me
Out to
think that
locate
they
a bomb
want
and
to
defuse
try
it.
and lock down a lot of these points of entry, because if Illinois is trying to spread out their attack and gain as much split control as possible, Legion's a pretty good operator at indicating where these players are, because you hear the goo mine go off and you get immediate information on where that player is coming in from. Stringman's on the Valkyrie, 7-3 by the way, best KDR for Kansas
The lobby.
State. For the lobby, yeah. So far, the standout player. Worm, on the other hand, still yet to find a kill. That might change in this round. We'll never know.
Worm, you got this. I do
Maybe
believe Illinois
maybe-
might be going for the main wall right now, but I can't tell. Seems like they're out on
Worm
that
might be our
balcony.
friend 007. 0 kills, 0 assists, 7 deaths. Who knows? Stringman, that dominant force for the map, though, gets shot from behind inside of medical, I believe.
I think that's outside the medical hall and the stairs that lead up to the roof. One more in reception right now. In weapon maintenance, swinging out. Pre-fire going out. Stringman getting cow. Well played from both those players. Just Stringman had the correct timing there.
Attackers have located a bomb.
Does look like the main breach is open, but they're trying to find any more roams and timings because they do have 3 C4s on the board. Stringman does go down. Worm looking to see if he can get the refrag. Get Stringman up.
Sitting down below in reception, watching all these holes that have been opened up inside of mezzanine. The wall has been opened. Stringman has been cut down by Cam, and Worm, partner in crime, the one who had revived him, calls with him. That is true, yeah. 2 pieces of C4, so you don't have that late game wall plant denial available for you. Eric also getting this case down. Pegasus has the long range angle from Operation Room, but after all is said and done, the plant doesn't actually end up going down. And it's only Pegasus who's sitting inside of Ops. Like in a 1v3 situation, 1 player on top of mezzanine, 1 sitting in pack of masks, 1 sitting inside of the... Well, yeah, that's Sneaky sitting there.
I think Pegasus just got timing super bad right there, where he was looking at the hall, or looking into sight, looked back into the hall, and everybody crossed the smoke right there. Just very unfortunate. Looks like someone might need a tech pause.
Yeah, looks like we do have a little bit of a pause timer on that game. Just some restart issues, some tech issues that are going through, but these opening few rounds have been pretty eye-opening in terms of the way that Kansas State likes to defend. And I think that something I mentioned earlier in one of the previous maps is that they are steadfast in their defense. They're not letting anything that Illinois State throws at them shake them in these last 4 rounds, because they have won 4 in a row despite the 2-0 opening by Illinois State. You see the man count go in Illinois State's favor. They're getting the plant down inside of masks, and then suddenly chaos erupts inside of the bomb site, and it's a 1v3. Pegasus is holding a long angle from Operation Room and have been looking into masks, have been looking into R6 room and server, and had, I guess, missed the player like you mentioned on mezzanine. I didn't quite catch that. What did you see there?
Yeah, it seemed like what we saw from Pegasus is what they were looking through the mirror that they destroyed with the Twitch drone into sight, and then they decided they wanted to try and peek the guy on the mezzanine. But at that point, the Legion swung into the breach, where I don't believe I remember who it was. The person was holding the person planting as well as the planter. So it was just an unfortunate timing. And then the mirror also was holding far back with the Vector. So I think it was just a very unfortunate timing.
Yeah, and then when you're facing down the Vector and the player on mezzanine, who are all just, it's a whole pinch situation. You suddenly lose 3 members, and you are meant to be the Overwatch, and that just feels really bad for ISU at the end of the day, because it did feel like a round that they could have won to even things out had things gone slightly differently. But after all is said and done, that is a 4-2 half on defense for Kansas State. Now, is a 4-2 half something that you would say is kind of expected for a defensive team, or for a team on any map in Siege, or do you see 3-3s happen more often?
I would say if you enjoy, like, if you think your enemy is good at defense and you get a 2-4 half, you should be happy with it, because then if you think you're going to be good on defense yourself, you would expect to win those other 6 rounds. The thing is, it's very hard to predict on what's going to happen, because myself, I don't remember all the stats from the major on how Lair's doing, because that's the only place we've seen more of Lair played. In the NAL quals, there's been some Lair played, but it's really only been played the major this week. And so I would say we're probably going to see how ISU is playing their defense. They were able to get 2 rounds on Nighthaven, and then they're off site. They lost pretty handedly, it looked like, or it was close. I don't remember really if you have the notes on that, but if they're going to be able to win at least 4 of those rounds, they might take it to overtime, and then it just could be a close match from there.
Yeah, I think if I remember correctly, the last round of Night Haven Labs, which was on the cafeteria kitchen bomb site, was I think it was still 3 players left standing for Kansas State on the attack, so they didn't hold down that tertiary bomb site incredibly well. One of the biggest linchpins, or one of the big pieces that catapulted Kansas State into winning that round specifically, was Cal was sitting in a corner watching one of the doorways walking into kitchen or into cafeteria. And once they got knocked down, then that just opened the floodgates for Kansas State to win the round, because now they had the complete advantage over site. And that can also be something that can be said for Lair, right? You have a lot of these angles, these corners that you can sit on site, but if Kansas State is well prepared for you, I think they'll be able to take you out pretty easily, despite what the result was on Cafe a little bit earlier today.
Yeah, I definitely think that's could be what happens today. If they can win their main 2 sites and even win 1 tertiary site, they could win the game. It's just going to be difficult for them at this point, depending on how they're defending Lair. I think with my team, we love to attack first to try and just feel it out. And just if we're winning attacking rounds, we know we're going to do fine on defense because we feel defending, we get to control the flow. And I don't know how other teams feel about it. And I feel like that's just the flow of Siege, is that if you're getting good intel on attack, attacking is much easier. But if you get your drone shot out in the first 15 seconds and you're sitting on the map screen, you can't see anything except the map, and you're like, what should we do? You're not going to be able to adjust your attack well and make sure you can do anything. So I think it's just going to be how ISU plays their defense and see how they win their main 2 sites, upstairs and downstairs, and then how they play their tertiary site.
And I think it's a good point in there as well is the drone usage. And something that we've seen come back into popularity nowadays has been the Mozzie. Now, Mute Mozzie was an old Intel denial combo that you saw ran quite frequently, especially when Mozzie had the super shorty way back when he was first released. But now with Mozzie getting that extra pest down as well, we've seen it used in a couple of these rounds, and it's seen it have great effectiveness in terms of denying those drones and denying that intel. And I think that's something that it works in the favor of the defense if it can be used correctly. And I think we've seen Kansas State use it a couple of times to great effectiveness, because once Illinois State is out of their intel and out of their options in that regard, you see them kind of start to stumble a little bit on the attack. And I think something that might be able to change that a little bit, if they are so inclined to do so, would be to take in the Zero. But I don't know, after Zero's buff, do you think that he's effective at all, or are we better looking for other operators to fill that kind of intel role?
I think Zero can be useful. The hard part about this level is that if you hear a Zero cam, it's immediately looked for. And it's like seeing a Val cam in the drone phase. If they see where it's placed, it's getting shot no matter what. And so whenever you hear a Zero cam in this level of play, it's getting looked for. And if they can't find it, it's going to be left up for a bit. But then if they hear a pierce, or if they hear or see a laser, it's getting shot. So it's definitely not the worst operator, but it's still a difficult operator to play at this level. And I would say, like, on maps like Bank and Border, can be very useful if it's played at a certain point in the round, not too early, not too late. Because on early points of the round, when you're taking map control, people are super aware for drones, and so they're going to be shot. But if you're doing it super late in the round, you got your hand on a gadget, not on your gun, you're not going to shoot anybody. So it's that kind of toss up where you're playing with utility that can be super helpful late round, but if it's not out late round, it's not going to be helpful.
It's a good point. I like the talk of having a hand on your gadget instead of on your gun. And I think as well with the pacing of Zero, sometimes it takes a little bit to be like, okay, take out the gadget and then aim it and then fire, and then you're wasting a few seconds trying to actually get that intel off that might eventually get shot out anyway. So totally understand what you're saying. But here we are, back into the game. We had a little slight rehost just because of some technical issues right at the end of the half that had gone 4-2 in Kansas State's favor. So they'll now be attacking. Illinois State will have to prove their defensive prowess or fall in the next 3 rounds, potentially at minimum.
Some different picks that we are seeing. I don't know how much Echo is ran in other maps by Illinois State, but I think it could be a good pick here for them. Try and just leave a drone out to try and make sure they're playing. And a switch we see is from Ace to Blitz. It looks like they might try and go for a fast execute. Luckily, Malusi hopefully will slow them down a bit, and they have the Warden on the board.
I wonder if Kansas State sees the Warden and Malusi and says, you know what, we don't care about those things. Because it does seem like a pretty easy direct counter to some of the style of play that this composition typically brings out. Or maybe Kansas State is just so confident in their attacks that they're like, you know what, we gotta shock them with the rush attack on the first round because we have a little bit of a round buffer to work with. At any rate, they're going to be sprinting on in and attacking yet again onto Rainbow Six room, and I believe it's Master. R6 and Master? Yeah. That is, it's an interesting name combination. I always have to double check my notes on those ones, because it's like Master Office and Bedroom and all that. Anyway, I'm getting caught up in callouts.
I do not have callouts for this. I got yoinked into this a little bit late, so we are balling. That's what we were doing.
You know what? That's Midwest R6 slogan. We are ballin'.
But it looks like they're going for a similar take as what Illinois was going to try to do. But I don't know how much control Illinois has at the backside that they were just walking in as well. This is a rappel I actually saw in the major, and I think it's going to be very useful for their attack here. That it has a rappel and it's got the braids, and it's also able to see onto the mezzanine ballot just from a bit farther away, make it harder for gunfight for the defenders with less 2.5 scopes.
Lucy Gadget also spotted out, but with the Flores available, you can clear these out basically for free without having to activate them. And even if you do jump in with the Lucy, they are going to be facing down a shield. Both of Eric's shots go missing on the Flores drone.
The second one might have hit. I don't know. It's kind of weird from this perspective, but I don't know what happened. Just bit rate, maybe.
Maybe hit a jammer or something. I didn't quite hear the sound of electronic getting destroyed. Either way, it doesn't sound like it detonated, so I'd be inclined to believe you. Uh-oh. Here comes Chaos. Here comes a C4. Sneaky is the first one to fall to Cow. A quick flick from Worm actually goes missing. Dust is not yet settled. We're currently at a 3v3 until Cam gets cut down. Stringman filling his head with lead, and it'll be a 3v2 after all is said and done. Kansas State getting the plant down. Stringman's trying to look for things here, but he doesn't know where the plant's going down. It's a 2v3 with an Echo, but the Echo hasn't had time to set up the drones. A nade goes out to take about 80 of the HP off of his body as well, and a wide swing from the back of server. Or sorry, from the back of R6 room. Will be netting the kill free Uni, and that will be Stringman tying things up with a neat little bow. Eric, the last one to fall for ISU. Kansas State putting us on to 5 rounds. 1 more round win, and they are on match point. 2 more, and they take this series in a reverse sweep 2-1 on Lair.
It's definitely going to be interesting. I think the one thing we saw here from Kansas was that the way they played it was they were setting up for about a minute there, making sure they had everything as much as they could destroy. They couldn't destroy that Malusi gadget, so what they did is that they were just getting ready to execute. They put all their green gadgets in. They put everything ready for that, and then put the flashes in, put the ying in, put everything in, and just went for it. The blitz dies, but then gets refragged and everything. They're just prepping for a minute. And I think if Illinois took a little bit advantage of some aggression there, tried to get one early pick, could have destroyed that very easily.
There was a C4 kill that went out, but I think that even with having the Warden and Malusi and these operators that are typically associated as counters to these sort of rushing strats, it was really the follow-up and the setup that Illinois State seemed to be caught unaware by. Kansas State will swap up their lineup a little bit to be less aggressive, but the Lion Blitz combo being able to clean out some of the roam plays that Illinois State might have could go a long way in securing the control of the map for the attack here. It all just matters on whether or not Illinois State can actually hold off on these aggressive roam clear operators or not.
I do think it's going to be interesting to see what they're going to go for here. And I think Illinois is going to try and bandit trick the wall. Probably do a split push here, try and go underneath into armory, then into reception, into medical to try and get the bandits off the wall. It's just going to be interesting and see what they're actually going for here.
Wouldn't entirely surprise me. Cow has a really nasty angle here, actually. Just ever so slightly open up into the wall. It might have been spotted out. We do see that yellow ping going out. And you are right. You do have the IQ downstairs inside of armory, looking for these bandit batteries. Buckshots go through, and oh, not quite, Cow. 32 HP on Buck, but that's not 0. Last time I checked, at least.
Blitz has just walked into top mez, though. Might just end up rushing the site if they get that bandit off the wall.
He's trying to go for the wall, but now Cow has lost positioning after being off the initial position. Tries to fire through the floor, but Worm is just ducking in and out. A little slippery Worm. Is the wall opened up now? And you are right. Oh no, the Blitz tries to go through, but he doesn't catch Pegasus. Oh no.
A great crossfire there. Actually baiting with the bandit. But if the thermite was on the wall, he might have been able to actually get the bandit there.
Flashbang out!
Eric getting Worm. Still O. Something. But he's got 2 assists now. Let's go Worm.
Good job, Worm. Do you think if you get enough assist tokens, you can cash them in for a kill? Like that would be something that
like,
Worm can try to do?
What is it, divisible by 5? Or is it 4? You have to get like 25 damage per person to get an assist?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I think 25 damage is correct. Sneaky takes 100% damage, by the way, from Cal. That MP7 being so effective. Uni in a bit of a, well, a bit of a rat position, just crawling around on the floor, but will get cut down by Cam accordingly. Drakon, who had been a standout player for Kansas State in both Cafe and Labs, will now meet his demise at the hands of a C4. Eric is downstairs inside a reception, and the lion becomes a bird as he flies sky high.
Just became a griffin. What are you talking about?
Oh yeah, that's right. A lion with wings. A chimera. Oh, like the operation. Whoa.
Let's see how ISU sets up their basement here. Does look like they're probably going to go for a similar setup on Kansas State here. Interesting lineup to start with, but
to locate and defuse as many bombs
Illinois
as they can.
going with Valk Warden. What I see here is no hatch denial, and I'm wondering how they're going to hold the vert if all those Valkyms are going to go inside or upstairs. My opinion would be to try and put them upstairs to try and keep any watch of your vert. The vert for this B site is very strong, especially for that hall, just to make sure you can hold everything, and then post plant just becomes a nightmare for the defenders to play. I don't know, we'll see what happens, what they're playing. And then the frost is just to try and make sure they're not hopping in, but if they're going to play it outside that filtration window and other things like that, I wonder how they're going to try and capitalize on it if people do hop in on that.
5 seconds left.
I wonder how much of this
Attackers are moving out to locate a bomb and
lineup
defuse
likes
it.
to play off-site. I guess you can, I mean, you can run quite a few of them off-site. The Frost, you lay down the Frost mats, and then you leave and go and cut down anybody trying to aggress over top of the site. The Valkyrie, the cams going upstairs is good for setting up C4, but you might also want that for site directly. And again, we do have the Warden because they know that they have the Blitz up, so it almost becomes a necessity. But Stringman already taking so much space inside of Warehouse here, and they've spotted one of the Valk cams too, so all that utility, that at least that initial utility you would expect from the defense, has already been taken away. And Warehouse, one of the key components of the attack in terms of gaining extra space, and like admin, is how I feel about it. In Consulate, I gotta stop comparing it to maps we're not watching. It's a bad habit of mine. It's like, oh, this reminds me of it's like how I remember call-outs and things for maps, but it's not great for casting. At any rate, there's a lot of
comparison helps other people remember stuff too, so it's not the end of the world, but we do see a lot of just map coverage getting taken, and Warden just being that absolute, what did we call it? Like, clear, Pencil getting 2. Blitz last, but no refrag from the other person there. Lamai, Smoke able to get Eric on Smoke, able to get Stringman on the shield, able to get Worm. Sneaky left alone in that storage area. Eric, close on the door. It's fried by Sneaky.
I thought Sneaky was a League of Legends player. Bit of a wide swing from Sneaky. Eric thought he was a little bit closer to the door, but will get cut down instead. And in 1v3, chances for Kansas State to actually claim this one aren't looking quite so great. The fact that you had the Warden tucked in so deep inside of that storage room was really a big bolster to the defense, because with the Ying Candelas going out, that was the exact operator that you needed to worry about. Because now he's just able to see through all those flashes, gets the 3 kills. Sneaky gets 2! Hold on a minute! That's 3 kills for Sneaky. He has case in 30 seconds. There's time on his side. There's the objective in his pocket. Ducks into support here. Not exactly sure where the last player is, who is actually hiding secretly inside a stock. He'll actually rotate back around to the other side. Wants to know where this player is. Planning behind one of these bookcases with 12 seconds left to go. Pegasus has to go out. A C4 flies out, but it's not going to claim anybody. But Sneaky actually gets the 4K for the clutch. That's going to be match point. Pushed up for Kansas State off the heroics of the ace player. Unbelievable.
Amazing shots there from Sneaky.
I am absolutely blown away by that one. Match point by Kansas State off of the heroics of your support player. You have to give it up for Sneaky there.
Attackers need to locate and defuse
Stellar
bombs.
piece going all the way through the back of Missile and a Toxin, and then had to find his way back. Or no, sorry, I'm looking at my notes a little bit backwards here. Goes in through the back of sight there. Claims the 2 players who had been peeking him inside a Toxin. Then goes to Stock, grabs the case, and eventually gets the plant down inside of, almost gets the plant down inside a lab. But it's when the Valkyrie player swings out a lab exit that he has his
10
number.
seconds left before insertion.
With a little bit of time left, he does fake the plant. Just follows up with some beautiful crosshair placement. It's like great play all around, back to front, and that just makes Kansas State sit on match point now. You are
I don't even
at
think
the
he was
death
intending
here.
to fake the plant. I think he just got off because he heard the C4 rip. And so he's more afraid of just trying to get away from it. And then the Valkyrie swung out right to where he was swinging. It was just a issue of Valkyrie not being prepared to where he was swinging. Valkyrie was holding the right side and he was already out on the left. So it was just a great play from Sneaky right there. But we're going to
Warehouse
see
has
them
been
do
opened up already.
a very similar push here.
And again with the Blitz and the Ying. So, yeah, almost identical actually in terms of operator lineups. A couple of discrepancies here and there, but at the core of it, oh, there goes the core. Cal did not want to see that Blitz terrorizing their team anymore, as Stringman on the Blitz is the first one to fall. The spearhead broken, doled by the Frost playing upstairs. So now Kansas State will have to recoup their losses and find a different way to get into sight that might not be quite so direct. Because now with this Frost playing upstairs, they have to worry about the possible flank from the robe as well. A wide swing though, Uni is good for the shot. Cal will fall. It's a 4v4 situation, so there has been some ground salvaged here. Only some air jabs placed around behind just in case they come creeping down yellow stairs. But Kansas State still has work to do. Illinois State, despite losing Cal upstairs, not instrumental in the defensive site directly. Eric, on the other hand, is still upstairs inside of medical. Has a long angle with the M5 opened up. The SMG-11 can rip through this floor quite easily.
Looks like they do have a drone on the Warden. He's just being constantly pinged. They don't know about it.
Oh!
Swapping back!
Uni good for 2.
Good for 3 even on the round.
Lights on.
Pegasus gets 1. Worm is going to cut down Pegasus, who had found the kill. C4 goes flying, but it doesn't go anywhere. No, it does! Right into the mouth of Uni, who will end their rampage at 3 kills. However, just like a previous round, was a post-plant, well, almost post-plant situation, an objective-centered one. The diffuser has been found, but Eric has to find the last 2 players of Kansas State if they want to win this game for themselves. The 417 rings out through the floor to get a little bit of soft destruction and a line of sight onto the case. Eric has to long arm it with only 14 seconds remaining, but I don't think it's going to be enough time for them to worry about it. They are playing so incredibly sneaky. In fact, sneaky will be the one to win it all for Kansas State. A 7-3 lair that could have gone so many different ways, but the ace player yet again playing hero at the dying seconds of the round to give Kansas State a definitive 2-1 victory.
It's a very competitive game there, but in that last round, we just saw Uni hit some fantastic shots. Definitely going to be an interesting way to see them go through the rest of the playoffs. Let's hope we can see a lot more performance like that out from the rest of them.
Absolutely, yeah. If they are putting up matches like that and only allowing their opponents to have 5 rounds in between 2 maps on the latter 2 maps after losing the first one, that speaks great volumes to their mental fortitude, but it also speaks great volumes to their ability to play some darn good Siege, and they're absolutely deserving of the 2-1 win after all is said and done. We're going to go ahead and jump to an interview, but before we do, we're going to take a slight break. We'll be right back.
Nice. Good pick. Take it. Take it
There's 2 in there. One more.
Another
Oh, the chair. CS double.
Freezer door.
Tap.
Nice.
Gonna get active
Dock
on site.
string piano. Dock string piano. One up. A zombie was bathroom door.
Oh my god.
Last one was bathroom. Bathroom door.
Oh my god.
Steven! Holy shit! You're so good! Oh my god, Steven. And a Tony.
It's total calamity, total mayhem inside of the server. Out of nowhere, they find their round back into their favor.
Holding up for the blood. No way. And I think he might just find it.
Tap, yeah, I want that. No lines, I don't cut back. Sweet, salty, and all that. Let loose, come get that. Can you play that back? Can you run that back? I'm trying to play that back. I want that. Tap tap, let's go, let's go. Tap tap, let's go, let's go. Tap tap, let's go, let's go. Right here, can you feel? Let's go. Tap tap, let's go, let's go. Tap tap, let's go, let's go. Tap tap, let's go, let's go. Right here, can you feel that? Ooh, you feel that? Ooh, the real back. Ooh, I'm still there.
Yeah.
Ooh, you catch that? Ooh, I guess that. The best back. Yeah, yeah. 30,000 up on my pallet. Might jump out if I'm wildin'. Catch my flow, I'm so stylish. Tap tap, real smooth. Can you play that back, back, back? Can you run that back, back, back? I'm tryna play that back, back, back. I want that. Tap tap, let's go, let's go. Tap tap, let's go, let's go. Tap tap, let's go, let's go. Right here, can you feel? Let's go.
Welcome back, friends, to the very tail end of the Midwest R6 matches for tonight. I'm Sojourner Kai here with Titanium Titan, and of course, joined by the myth, the man, the legend from Kansas State, Uni. Uni, congratulations on your 2-1 victory tonight. And how does it feel to beat your lifelong rival in Trash Talk Cow in Mortal Kombat this evening?
You know, the whole week, like, Cal was just in that Trash Talk Discord, just, you know, nailing us to the wall. He was even in, like, our little Discord chat with just me and him and the directors, and just absolutely trashing us. So, I mean, to get this win, it's like everything.
Feel like a little more vindicated coming out of it, and especially on, like, 7-3, 7-2 victories. It was quite the statement for you guys to make at the end of the day, too.
Yeah, I mean, considering that next round we're running into Akron, I feel like this is definitely one that we want to just take home, and we definitely wanted to win. So,
yeah, it'll be some positives to take forward. So, speaking of like positives and momentum, you guys lost Cafe 7-4, but were able to bounce back. Were there some lessons that you immediately learned from that first map that you then applied to your next 2 rounds? Because clearly something changed to make you guys win that dominantly.
right. So, especially whenever we started defending, I think their takes were more like fast paced in the very beginning. They would do some phantom pressure, then take it really slow, and then hit us hard with an execute. And that was one of like the biggest things that they did, especially on Cafe. And you know, going into the next map, going into Nighthaven, we're like, they're gonna do this like almost every time. They're gonna do some phantom pressure. They did it on that IT wall a lot. You know, they're gonna do some phantom pressure, take it really slow, and then hit us hard with an execute. And you know, taking that from Cafe, that really helped us go on that 6-0 run on defense, and that just solidified our win there for Nighthaven.
You're always like perpetually 1 round away from winning the half, and that. Yeah, Titan, do you have any questions as well to pass over to Uni here tonight?
Yeah, so I got to watch the 3rd game. I just had to hop in for a different caster, but I also got to watch the end of the 2nd game, and it was a very dominant defense half. What do you have to feel about like that on your Nighthaven? Do you think you could take that against Akron and try and even get a good 5-1? I don't know. What's your feeling?
So funny enough, we played Akron yesterday on Nighthaven. So I mean, we didn't take a single defensive round. We started on attack. We picked Nighthaven
No.
against them. So just coming from that, I think we learned a lot, especially playing a team like Akron going to ISU. We took a lot from it, especially because we only won attack. We took 2 rounds off them, and that was it. So I think just coming from that, I think we learned a lot.
How much adapting do you think you'll try and do for your game against Akron for Midwest next week?
I mean, dude, it's a tough stack to beat. It's just really hard to win your ones against them. So I mean, I think the biggest thing is just fucking hitting the aim labs. Excuse my language.
All
You're
right,
good.
minus $500. We're all good here.
I do want to say though, in those last few rounds, we got to see some really nice shots from you and Sneaky, especially that clutch from Sneaky.
Yeah, I mean, after okay, Sneaky was like, "All right, guys, it's time to like do attack timeout. We need to talk about what happened." Literally, like 10 seconds later, he absolutely poops on that Frost and that Wamai, and we were just like, "Oh my God, he's about to win!" And then I don't know what that Valk was doing. He threw that nitro cell. Sneaky got off the plant. That was like default. I don't know why Valk just ran with his head cut off just into the room and just died. So I mean, but that sparked a fire in us. And then I got the 3K in the last round, and that was it from there. I absolutely smoked Cow.
Yeah, that quick peek that Cow was getting, I was like, it's gonna get the intel and fry him, and then you got him on the quick peek, and I was like,
Right, yeah. No, I had to
bro.
do that for us. Like we had to absolutely get that round, especially that last round. Sneaky, like sparked a fire in us for that.
Yeah. And then one of the other things I was gonna mention, the 2 rounds that Illinois State won, there was one thing I noticed, and you might want to adapt it if you want to add it to your layer. They always pushed that back side of like the balcony where they have the windows. Do you know what I'm talking about on layer?
Yeah, display. Yeah. So initially, so this, I mean, I don't want to give away too much here, but me and Drake on are supposed to sit back there.
Not the side with the bathroom, the opposite side.
The opposite side. Oh yeah, with all the map holes and stuff. Yeah, I know what you're talking about. What was the question
And,
again?
like,
I'm sorry.
I was just gonna say, like, I was gonna say, like, if they had pushed that a different way, I feel like they could have won it much more easily. I don't know, want to know your opinion about it.
Yeah, so that Twitch was supposed to be holding, especially Drake's cross, and then me and Sneaky's cross into the room, because everybody get that. I'm assuming you're talking about the round where they almost got the plant down, and then I just crossed into the smoke. Yeah, I mean, it was just we had to make a play there. I think we were down 3v5 in that round, and I had to I ran into the smoke. I didn't calm anything, which I definitely should have, but Sneaky was just right there behind me, and he made that play with me. I'm pretty sure he downed the guy. I was told that I might have downed him with the super shorty, but I saw that Mav just randomly shooting. I obviously smoked him with it, and then Sneaky was right there behind me. So that was my thought process behind that round, at least.
Yeah, it was definitely an interesting play. I think I was talking about that with Sojourn. It seemed like the instant you guys went to swing, the Twitch actually swung the guy on the Mez Balk.
Yeah.
So,
And Drake's like our biggest mechanical guy. So I mean, like putting him in that power position definitely helped us right there as well.
so what else you got, Sojourn? Anything from the other 2 games that you had noticed that you wanted to mention?
No, I think that's about all I have for this evening. So thank you very much, Uni, for taking the interview. Congrats on the win. Hopefully see you guys in a interesting fight against Akron next week. So good luck on your match. And we'll look forward
Let's
to the
see a good
results.
fight. That's all we want. Let's see a good fight. Make
Yeah,
it a good game.
that's what we're hoping for.
Any shout outs that you want to give out tonight?
Shout out Sneaky, man. Hey, that was the craziest clutch. I mean, that was probably one of the biggest clutches I've ever seen. Especially, I've been in here like 4 semesters almost. That was the biggest clutch I've ever seen, especially on this kind of stage. So shout out Sneaky, for sure.
All right, Sojourn, you want to take us out?
Yeah. So and that's all that we have for this evening. Thank you all so much for your patience, for watching some excellent Siege this evening. Thank you all so much for joining us again on another week of Midwest R6. We'll see you next week, and have a good night.